You know?
She's like, I'm coming back. I see you're trying to replace me with Sonya.
No, we just, the show needs more females on it anyways, I think, on Sundays.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, yeah, it's good to
yeah,
hear from you.
Got too much testosterone going on, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anyways, I'm gonna switch over and get Jack up and rolling. You guys take care. Have a good one, and I'll get this up and out like always.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, let me get Jack going here. Do 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 do. Hello, hello, hello. Getting Jack Carey up and rolling. Oh, we know you could never replace Yotivation, but, she just wants to come in. Hey, Jack, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing really good here. I hope David gets in here tonight. Looks like he's on hold. He's probably talking to someone else, but, and we got you for later on, too. First hour or so of Vixen's Vault since Nance had to go in the hospital due to an infection. But, speedy recovery.
Yeah, poor lady. Sorry, Nancy. We're all praying for you out there.
Yep, we sure are. Yeah. Well, no one wants to see my unshaved face, so I'll just do that. There we go. We got a few more minutes, and then we're going to get everything up and rolling. Yeah. What do you got for us tonight there, Jack?
Tonight we just kind of have a round table of subjects I'm going to go over. It's sort of a 4th of July special, a time to go back over a number of topics we've covered. And, I didn't have as much time to prep this week, so I thought it would be a good time to kind of go back over what the Webbot was talking about for the rest of the summer, and got kind of an extended cryptid corner tonight we'll be talking about. And on the main topic, I've got 3 different topics that I'm going to try to touch on, but the main one is Göbekli Tepe. So
cool. Well, you have about 30 seconds, and then we'll get you up and rolling. And had a good show with John earlier, and we had Brent Hamachek in there. It was great.
Very nice.
On the radio side right now, Jack.
Welcome back, everyone, to Paranormal Intelligence Agency Radio. We are broadcasting live from 300 feet deep in an abandoned nuclear missile silo somewhere undisclosed in the post-apocalyptic wastelands of the Dakota Territories. And as always, I am joined by the paranormal crime-fighting duo Daisy and the Sundance Kid, or working security in the silo again this evening. And high above us, roaming around, I kid you not, the Dakota, are gray alien vampires. We spotted them today. Apparently, they abducted the wrong person on the planet, some guy named Vlad. Now, apparently, the vampire virus is alive and well in the gray alien population, and they are sucking everything dry within a 20 square mile radius. It is pure post-apocalyptic mayhem. And as always, there's a $10 cover charge and a 2-drink minimum. Please be kind to your waitress this evening. And this has been one of those crazy, crazy weeks. They've all been crazy lately. What can I say? It's the summer of emergence. And we'll be talking about that tonight. Kind of have a round table of topics to discuss this evening, and we're just going to kind of jump from topic to topic. This is the time of year, a good time of year, really to kind of have an annual slacker show where we're going to kind of free form discuss a lot of different topics and kind of jump from topic to topic and kind of go back and reiterate some things that were covered in some past episodes, and we'll just see where the evening takes us as far as our discussion goes. We're going to talk about everything from the difference. What is the difference between a skinwalker, a shapeshifter, a werewolf, and a dogman? I had that very important question posed to me on YouTube this week, and I thought that would be something good to cover. A lot of people are unfamiliar with what the differences are, but there are distinct differences between those four things. And like I said, we kind of have an expanded cryptid corner this evening, which will be fun. An interesting report I came across the last few days. I've been studying this report, kind of linking 4 different cryptids and the idea that they're following an electromagnetic grid. Interesting. It's kind of a new angle on some cryptid animals that everyone is familiar with. And we've got some interesting paranormal in the news, as always. News Nation is running an article about Senator Rounds will renew push for UAP disclosure legislation. So there again is another volley in the ongoing war for disclosure. There are pro forces and there are dark forces for control and for ultimate disclosure, hopefully, of the alien presence on this planet. And, you know, I've discussed previously, and it's something to reiterate, to really brace yourselves for ontological shock. And that's kind of, you know, where the headlines are meeting cyber prophecy and the idea that they've had, quite 80 years now to really kind of warm the public up to the idea of non-human intelligences flying exotic craft around and doing who knows what for what ends. And they've chosen not to do that. And now the universe is forcing their hand. And it's doing so in a number of different ways. And really all that's left to them, because they've chosen to cover it up this long, because they're not going to just come right out. This is going to be a fight to the very end, it looks like. But really the only option left to them and to the public is catastrophic disclosure, which means disclosure comes all at once without any warning whatsoever to, you know, ma and pop out there in normie land, that, you know, and that's not to look down on people that aren't versed in the paranormal subjects, but we have to always keep in mind that there are millions upon millions upon millions of people that never entertain a single notion about the paranormal world, and all of a sudden they're going to be faced with a reality change, the likes of which no human has ever seen before. And how are they going to deal with that reality change is a big question, and that is ontological shock, the idea that everything that you thought was true and believed was true gets wiped out in a single moment. And what do you do at that stage in time? And we're quickly approaching here in the so-called summer of emergence, as the WebBot puts it, into a period of time when, over the past few months, we've had a lot of different stress points happen around the world. So, and you can look at a stress point like a major story of some kind that hits the headlines and the mainstream news media, etc. It's at that interesting stage that you're going to begin to see story after story coming out over the course of July, August, into the fall. Things begin to transition a little bit. The WebBot kind of predicts a little bit of a lull in August, but July is going to be a period of time where really you can take all of the stress points we've had since May, double that, and then turn that up 50%, and you'll come close to what the WebBot predicts is going to happen over a very hot July. So you have that to look forward to, if nothing else. Kick back in the air conditioning, turn on the fan, whatever you have, and turn the mainstream news on. There's a bunch of misinformation and false information. That's part of watching mainstream media, is to see what it is they're up to. But at the same time, what you're going to see is the story after story coming out that's going to send shockwaves through normie land, I like to call it, and each one of those shockwaves is going to be a major stressful event for people. So, you're going to have a period of time when, presumably normal people, people that even that act and are, really for all intents and purposes, not crazy, can and will start acting out in crazy ways when some of this information begins to become shown to them in a way that they can no longer deny or put aside or pretend like it isn't happening. And so because of that, the WebBot has predicted, there's going to be some chaos happen. And with that, you can presume logically that a lot of chaos is going to happen where there are people, and where there are people are high population areas. So, it's wise, if you can, over the next month or 2 or 3, to kind of steer clear of people. And this is part of tonight's cyber prophecy. I thought we would cover the necessary steps one really kind of needs to take in the face of all of these changes that are coming, to sort of weather the storm, if you will. So, and what do I mean by weather the storm? Well, this isn't a time when there's going to be like a pandemic or an asteroid, hit the Earth, or World War III exactly break out. There could be plenty of big wars taking place, as there are, but the WebBot does not see like a planetary human-on-human war taking place. It's not like that. What the changes that are coming, these huge waves of changes that are coming, are going to be waves that alter humanity's perception of reality, of things like time specifically, are going to become completely different and altered. It predicts a period of time when people become decoupled from geographic notions of time. And by that I mean, we live on a cycle of 24-hour days, 7-day weeks. 5 of those days are heavy labor days, etc. That system's been in place for a really long time. Well, when this wave of change comes, and it's coming very soon, people are going to begin to behave and operate in a different way. That old way of perceiving and sort of plotting out life according to how we perceive time is going to really drastically change, because our idea and perception of time is going to really go out the window, along with our accepted, really worldwide accepted version of physics also ends up going out the window, because when a new technology is introduced, which is non-human in origin and which comes from outside of what is now a closed system, and defies all of that math that you thought you knew, all of those physics that you thought you knew, then you have to rewrite physics from scratch, because it's operating by a higher physics. In other words, they're just not seeing enough of the puzzle pieces to be able to tell that the physics they've been pursuing actually lead to a dead-end alleyway. It doesn't go anywhere. There's a higher form of physics, apparently, that these craft and these non-human intelligences are able to take advantage of. And, that becomes eventually known to the populace. And a lot of this back-engineered technology is said to, or is being predicted by the WWOW to actually come into normal world populations within the next few years. It's interesting because it does have the so-called end of days prediction, but if you've noticed around the internet, there's a lot of talk about 2027 and this idea that there's something that's going to happen on 2027. What that happening is a matter of a lot of speculation online. I know Cliff High was able to trace that traffic back to its origin. It was discovered that there were a number of military agencies from various countries around the world who were originating that information online. For what purpose, we don't know. Very interesting. But that's where that originates, back to military. Various militaries around the world have people who are literally leaking online in various venues and chat boards, what have you, that 2027 is the end of the world, and that's why all of the powerful elites of the planet are, building underground bunkers. And it was reported not too long ago that people like, Mark Zuckerberg has a huge underground bunker in Hawaii now. And there's plenty of these people that do. Plenty of these elite billionaire type people that have these underground bunkers. In fact, in the Dakota territories here, I can tell you that there is a complex of old missile silos that some sort of investment firm has purchased and has renovated all of those silos and then sold them out to millionaires all over the country. So that's interesting as well. But the WWOW is saying that they know it's not like a planetary catastrophe. It's not like a pandemic. This isn't going to be a bug out type situation. This is a very much hunker down and weather the storm type situation. And there's a lot of good suggestions about that, about really what to do over the next few months, and that is to sort of begin to turn your home, wherever that may be, into its own little oasis. Whatever you can do to make your home a retreat from the rest of the world, where you'll be able to sort of have personal, alone, quiet space and time, and little as contact as possible with other human beings for the next few months, that would be extremely advisable. Creating a Zen garden, creating a Zen room, creating areas where you can sort of unplug, if you will, from the crazy chaos that will be ensuing. Everything will be fine. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a period of time when you're going to have to hoard food or things like that, but you're going to have a period of time when all of this sort of let's call it alien shock overwhelms the public. I like to make things simple like that. It freaks the normies out completely. They really have a tough time with it. And they start acting out because of that. That's when people become dangerous, and that's kind of the dangerous period we're approaching. That's why you want to kind of steer clear of people that are going to have their normal worlds kind of smashed into tiny little pieces, because they can act out in really unpredictable ways. And the WebBot says to be wary of that. It's a period of time when you're going to have that kind of ontological shock take place in our society, along with a complete upending of the economy. So not only do you have the stresses coming down of all of belief systems being obliterated, right, within our society, but you have the stress of a major economic upheaval is the best word, as the sort of old debt system begins to get crushed under the wheels of what will become a new monetary system. And this new monetary system will be based on real money. Imagine that. It won't be treasury notes that are a promissory note to pay you $1 of some kind. If you ever present the note, no, it's not like that. It's going to be something more like a constitutional dollar based on gold, silver, minerals, actual assets like that. And that is a radical change. And the only way that change takes place is by really a wiping out of global debt, if you can imagine that. So, there are things being predicted as big as when this alien tech begins to make its way out into the public, as it will, because the money for all the secrecy has now been eliminated from the equation. So these people don't have money to keep it a secret anymore. All of that money is really dried up, and now they're left scrambling. And so that stuff is going to float to the surface. And along with that is some 0 point energy like devices, apparently, and the indications that that really the powers that be aren't going to want to upset the apple cart any more than it already is. And so they begin to sort of clandestinely deploy this 0 point energy into our power grids. That's really kind of how this looks like it plays out. Eventually, there are people that end up, working with and on those type of 0 point generators, who end up working on things like in their garages and things like that, and come up with all kinds of free or extremely cheap energy devices. And that begins what is predicted to be or described to be the emergence of sci-fi world. And sci-fi world should happen within our lifetimes. This is going to be an exciting time, but it'll be a time when many, many secrets are revealed. We have to remember that we are in the Kali Yuga. This is the age of Aquarius, and true to form in the age of Aquarius, all secrets from the previous age become revealed. Well, we have to remember that secrets over time build up lots of tension. And when a secret gets revealed, it's very much like setting off an earthquake within society. So imagine a time period coming up here very shortly when many big secrets get revealed. These cause big earthquakes within our society at a time that ontological shock is taking place, at a time when economic upheaval is taking place. All of this coincides really literally starting in July over the next 4 to 5, 6 months. It plays out like that. So you're in for big changes. Big changes are coming. And, we have to remember that the true nature of the universe, let's call it that. I mean, it is the ontology of the universe, but the true nature of the universe is a self-revealing mechanism. In other words, if you're a life form somewhere in the universe, it will make its true nature known to you or to your species. And, it works in both directions, for good and for negative. But, we have to remember it's the supreme consciousness of the universe which put us into a position to acquire alien technology to begin with. We have to remember that there are all kinds and forms of slavery on this planet, and there are indications that humans could be a different kind of enslaved race from non-human intelligences. But the universe often works in ways that surprises the enslavers and not those who are enslaved. In other words, those who are enslaved often rise up to become the masters of those who enslaved them. And it's one of those things where it could be shaping up. There are every indication from cyber prophecy coming out of Webbot, Vedic astrology, remote viewing, and the Schumann resonance indicator that humanity still steams forward. We do get through this difficult period of time, and on the other side is sort of this big explosion of human potential. We have to remember that in the ascending part of the Kali Yuga that we find ourselves in right now, we are being bombarded from cosmic center, from the center of our galaxy. Our planet is receiving amazingly energetic rays of energy, and it's those rays of energy that interact with biology on this planet, including humans, and humans begin to sort of bloom again like they did in the last golden age, and you'll begin to see people take on heightened psychic abilities. You'll be able to see them take on heightened, increased intelligence levels, longer lifespans, higher creativity. It runs the spectrum. Those are all the good things that come with this part of the periodic cycle that we are in on this planet. And when we come back, we'll continue meandering through the Twilight Zone. Stay with us.
Awesome, Jack.
Thanks.
I've been doing a lot of filler streams in between when we go live, and that on Wednesday and Sunday nights and all the other nights. And I caught one with you, me, J.C. Johnson, and Shell Dion, and there was a bunch of others in there too. Man, it just brought some really cool memories back.
That is cool.
Yeah. Been a lot of if folks out there listen to the the filler stream, you'll hear some of the original shows that I've done from not just, the past week, but, from even years. I've been doing this for like 18 years, almost 19 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, yeah. And Jack,
Amazing.
you're on a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yep, good times and lots of memories. I was thinking about that today. I was going to actually recount the run-in with the black-eyed girl.
Oh, man. Yeah. That.
In Encrypted Corner, because I'm touching on the hitchhiker effect. At the time, the hitchhiker effect wasn't known.
Mm-hmm.
And what was known were the BEKs, or the black-eyed kids, which was a phenomenon that has died out. Really, there's not a lot of BEK reports that come in that seem highly credible like there were at that time. And so we just assumed this had to be one of those BEK things, and now I look back at it and I think, no, this was pure hitchhiker effect, like to a T if you read their descriptions of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that and the what was the other one? Oh, the Bigfoot with wings. And
Yeah.
you talked about it last week a little bit. I can't remember what.
the Night Stalker is what we called
Well,
it.
Night Stalker was one of them, but there was another one too. It looked like something from one of those horror movies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he titled
Yep.
that. It was eating chickens and harassing that girl and the whole deal. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was like a chimera.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you get these cryptids that are like that are like chimeras, and you just don't know what to think of it. I mean, people have reported seeing Bigfoot in the past with wings.
Yeah, which makes you wonder about Mothman, things like that
Right.
too. But I don't think Mothman is a Bigfoot type creature, but sure, it's a cryptid of some sort.
Right. And it could be, I believe in interdimensional cryptids. I think that they exist. And I think that Mothman probably fits that better than any of the others as far as its weirdness goes. One of the very first real interactions that's recorded in ufology with the Men in Black was in Point Pleasant during the Mothman sightings.
Yeah, the author, what was his name?
Eel.
I have it right on Kia. Yeah, he had that. We're being restreamed tonight by Roger Hanson and also the Great Conspiracy, just to let you know. And we're getting ready to come back here in a little over 30 seconds. Miss Trashes and Great Conspiracy and all the wonderful people over in the Kick Chat, appreciate each and every one of you. Also on all the other platforms too. We got Sonia and YouTube listening to us. We've got DK listening to us over on D Live. And get ready for your countdown because it's coming up and like right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you are live and back on the radio side right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Paranormal Intelligence Agency Radio Live. I'm your host, Jack Carey, your tour guide to the Twilight Zone, and tonight we were discussing some paranormal news and mainly some cyber prophecy. We're sort of going back over some topics that we've covered over the past few weeks because this is a perfect really time during the summer to do that and to sort of take stock of where we're at in the cyber prophecies. Kind of reiterate some things that would be wise to do, given that, there's been some highly accurate predictions in the past put out by the webbot algorithms. And so instead of, sort of fearing the future, I advise surfing the waves as they come. And some of those things that will help you to do that, for instance, it has mentioned time and again that we're going to have an economic turmoil period that's going to be truly altering to our society. And at the same time, it's been saying that this time period would see a temporal marker. A temporal marker is an event that occurs that lets you know when a bigger event is about to take place. And one of those temporal markers to this economic upheaval that's said to sweep through across the planet really is that the dark globalist cabal of banking power on this planet is losing its grip over the control of silver. I know that sounds strange because what does silver have to do with paranormal prophecies? But to make a long story short, these guys that have been in this pursuit of a global power structure for eons and have worked to those ends and have done really nefarious things are the same people that have control of the back engineered alien technology, and they're the same people that control the baking industry. And we're approaching a point when they're going to lose control completely of all of that. And one of the crazy things is that this group of powerful people have been able to manipulate silver prices in the silver market going on 7 decades, 8 decades, maybe longer than that. Cliff High would argue it goes all the way back to the silver wars in China, between Britain and China. And that was a period of time when China literally controlled all of the goods going, or Britain controlled all of the goods going into China and forced all of the Chinese people to pay for them in silver. And by doing so, extracted the wealth of the country, out of China. And it was this ill-gained silver that became the backing for a lot of banking industries, a lot of big banks and central banks eventually, etc., and a lot of powerful, wealthy, elite European families that are associated with the banking industries learned that they could readily manipulate the price of silver, and by doing so, they could leverage it many hundreds and hundreds of times by writing what are called derivative contracts. This allows them unbelievable amounts of leverage in the many trillions of dollars to be able to do all of the stuff that they do. Well, a temporal marker has been coming in from the webbot that says they lose control over the silver manipulation. It looks like that temporal marker has been tripped. We say that because the price of silver went through it's like 7 or 8 decade resistance line just a week or two ago, and it went through that resistance line literally like it wasn't even there. Now you're having all kinds of people on financial channels, etc., talking about how silver is invaluable to all of the high technology that is going to be necessary for artificial intelligence. And you're seeing really these guys get pressure from all ends. And at some point, that spring pops and the price of silver goes sky high. It is predicted to become unobtainium. If you've ever heard that word, that means so rare, so valuable that you can't even obtain it anymore. So as part of a survival kit, it would be my recommendation to obtain some actual physical silver in your possession. Not a bad idea if you like to pay attention to cyber prophecies, because that could be the counterweight, the counterbalance that sort of sees you through what could otherwise be an extremely traumatic period of time. And that's how silver relates to the paranormal world. It's because the people that control a lot of this technology have been able to manipulate it for all of this time period. And by doing that, they've gotten away with a lot of other stuff. All about to come to a bitter end for them, I'm afraid. It looks like the universe has a big shock coming for these people as well. So yeah, not a bad idea to sort of take stock of where we are in the cyber prophecies, to sort of brace ourselves for what's coming, and and to mentally, physically, spiritually prepare yourself. Like I say, this is a bug in kind of a situation, not a bug out. It's not like you're going to be packing the truck and heading for the hills with your shotgun, which, by the way, is a really bad idea in any situation. Trust me, everybody that thinks about bugging out has that exact same plan in mind. They're all going to wind up in the same place shooting each other. It's amazing. So bugging out is probably never a good idea unless you suspect that the place you're bugging in at is going to be destroyed in some fashion. Let's just face it. But moving on to tonight's Cryptid Corner, very interesting report I got. I've been perusing it. It's unusual in that it kind of combines a scientific mechanism with four various cryptids that we never would suspect would share this relationship, but it turns out that a report has been compiled by some very smart people who discovered that there's four areas around the world that have like major aqueducts, these just gigantic underground rivers, right? And at the same time, they have vast cavernous cave systems. And it turns out that all four of these locations around the world are famous cryptid hotspots. All four locations, because of the unusual underground makeup of the topography in these areas, they're all highly electric, and they all exude electromagnetic frequencies, and they do so in a weird sort of grid pattern in all four locations. And those locations are interesting because one is the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, and it's in the Pine Barrens, of course, that we have the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil's one of those cryptid animals that I have often wondered would fit better into the category of a interdimensional cryptid. Or is it a one-off cryptid animal that lived and will or has died at some point? And your only other option is a breeding species, but since nobody's ever seen more than one of them, it sort of fits into this paranormal realm of one of those two. It either came about through some paranormal occurrence, lived its life and died, or this is an interdimensional being of some kind that's seen from time to time. But what's interesting is that it's in this area that in the Pine Barrens is where this cryptid is seen. And, you have 3 other locations that are famous for cryptids that have the exact same underground thing taking place. Another location would be in West Virginia with the Flatwoods Monster. And the Flatwoods Monster is very interesting because with the eyewitnesses who saw the creature described it as being part animal and part mechanical, and that it had this weird mechanical odor about it, which is very strange. In an area where there were reported UFO flaps taking place. And when you plot the sightings of the monster, it turns out that the sightings fall directly upon this electromagnetic grid that is naturally produced by the underground aquifers and tunnels that are there. The same thing, if you plot sightings of the Jersey Devil, the same thing is discovered. Then you can go all the way across the ocean to Congo, the Republic of Congo, and you have a cryptid animal named Mokele Mbembe, which I highly suspect is still alive and still roaming the jungles of the Congo. There are indications, like modern day sightings of this creature, and there are sightings going way back into the 1960s from I would call that modern day sightings of a creature that Mokele Mbembe, the name means he who stops the flow of rivers. And by all visual descriptions that have been given to us by witnesses, it looks like this thing is a surviving brontosaurus of some kind or plesiosaur of some kind, as described as having a small head, a very long neck that goes to a very large body with huge 3-foot wide tracks. And it's said that when it crosses a river or a stream in the Congo, it's so wide that it stops the flow of the river. That's how it got its name. Well, it turns out that in the Congo, you have the exact same thing taking place. An extremely rare underground aquifer system tied to a extensive cave system that runs throughout, and very strange electromagnetic qualities taking place. And again, when you plot the sightings of Mokele Mbembe, strangely enough, it turns out that it shows up on this grid pattern. Then take into account eastern Oklahoma, my native Oklahoma, which would be the 4th location. And here you have, again, vast underground aquifers that are tied to vast cave systems. And there you have the Oklahoma Bigfoot, or the Adair monster, sometimes they like to refer to it as. It's interesting because you have normal sighting reports of Bigfoot in Oklahoma, but then you also have sightings of the so-called Adair monster, which is described like a Bigfoot, but with an elongated dog-like snout. People in that area, I suppose, don't know what a dogman is or have never called it a dogman, but it's known as the Adair monster. And here again, when you plot the sightings, it shows up on this electromagnetic grid pattern. What are the odds that 4 separate cryptid animals with no other known connections all are located in areas that have this extremely rare, natural makeup? And when the sightings are plotted, they all seem to be following grid lines that are naturally produced by that underground topography. Very, very strange. And, that brings me to the difference between a dogman, a werewolf, a skinwalker witch, and a shapeshifter. Something which is not discussed a lot, but I can tell you that, first of all, the one that is not like the other three is the skinwalker, because a skinwalker is a witch from the Navajo nation, and they practice a form of black witchcraft, really the blackest of the black. It's known that to be admitted into a coven of skinwalker witches, one has to do something like murder a family member in order to gain entry, and then they hold that crime over your head so that you never leave the group or betray the secrets of how they do what they do. And it's an ancient lineage of extremely powerful witches who, it appears, have gained, by paranormal means, through the practice of magic, the ability to actually take the form of other animals, among other powers. Very strange and incredibly powerful powers. So, and that differs from a dogman, because it's believed by researchers, and you can consult my book, Dogman Legend Meets Science, that's available on Amazon. But most researchers and eyewitnesses, when they see a dogman, believe that this is a creature that stays in that form all the time. It's not shifting from form to form. This is some kind of apparently either being produced in a laboratory in numbers, or it's a breeding species of some kind out there in the dark wildernesses of the world. I mean, they are reported as far afield as Australia and places like that, even though, you know, ground zero is North America, and particularly the northern states of North America, like Michigan. So, and there's lots of indications that there's an alien connection to the Dogman mystery. One of those indications comes from a remote viewer that contacted the magnificent Linda Godfrey, who broke the Beast of Bray Road story and really introduced the modern Dogman mystery to America. This remote viewer contacted her once upon a time from the government, claimed that he was in the CIA, still worked for the CIA, was a remote viewer for the CIA, and that he had been given a blind target of dogmen, and that there was some kind of alien connection there, that these things were produced by a non-human intelligence at some point in the distant past for an unknown reason, but that they appeared to be waiting for something. Interesting. He also stated that they possessed a type of alien technology in the form of these little orbs, these little spheres that they carry, and they can activate these spheres and they open up a portal and they can literally jump from location to location. She was able to verify his credentials. I knew Linda Godfrey personally. I know she wouldn't lie about it, and she even wrote about it in one of her books. Fascinating. Then you jump over to the farmer who owns the field adjacent to Bray Road itself, where the Beast of Bray Road has been cited, is probably the most famous dogman there is. And he claims to have sighted the beast a number of times, to the point where he also started having cattle mutilations. He kind of blamed it on the beast. He planted cameras all through the field, Bray Road itself, and then put out a fresh deer carcass to bait it. And what he got on his camera was amazing. A mist formed in the middle of the field that the cameras were in. It sort of floated over the deer carcass, and when the mist dissipated, the deer carcass was gone. At the same period of time that he had these cameras out in his field, he recorded nonstop UFO activity. And this was at the same period of time that he came across what are believed to be, the absolute original, authentic Dogman prints really ever taken or discovered, the Bray Road footprints. And these are footprints that have 5 toes, but they have 7 pads. A genetic anomaly not found in any canine species. Very, very strange stuff. And then you have the werewolf, and it's believed that the werewolf is actually a genetic anomaly that takes place within certain bloodlines, most of them going back to Northern European bloodlines. And there have been real werewolf cases even tracked into North America from Northern European immigrants that actually came from the old world and were carrying what apparently is some sort of mutation, genetic mutation of some kind, whereby they're able to spontaneously transform into a wolf-like creature. It's said that they're unable to control that, and I think that that's a fascinating he had these part cameras out of the werewolf mystery. And then you have the regular, I call them regular, just your average, everyday shapeshifter. I tell people, take a look at a creature in the ocean called the mimic octopus. Here is a creature that is able to mimic other animals perfectly. It takes their shape, it takes their color, it takes their behavior patterns, and it uses all of that in its own survival mode, its hunting patterns and its survival mode. And I would argue that what we have on dry land here, which has been filmed now a few times, is an animal very much like the mimic octopus that is existing in the wilderness areas of North America. I do have a copy of that on my YouTube channel of some people that have filmed one of these that apparently is, cloaked, which is fascinating to me. But what's really fascinating is that Dr. Bruce Maccabee's wife, the famous ufologist, Dr. Bruce Maccabee, who's now passed from us, and it was probably the best photo analyst of UFOs ever back in the day to me. His wife was hunting on their property, and she looks over and she sees in the tree next to her a shimmering silhouette of a being there that is very much like what was recorded by these other people. All of that. And she took a photograph of it, and that photograph is out there online. And it's weird because Bruce Maccabee was an optic engineer, and he examined it, and he said whatever it was had some sort of weird ability to bend light rays around it. So that's the kind of animal I'm talking about when we talk about shapeshifters, and there's every indication that they are there and they are in the wilderness. Do they take people, or are they predators of some kind? That's unknown really at this time. So boy, that hour went fast, and that's the way it goes. And in paranormal land, when you jump down one of these rabbit holes and just see where it leads you. So, but stick with us next hour on Vixen's Vault. I'll be filling in for the talented and amazing Nancy Planeta, and we'll continue the conversation on another weird topic. I'll see you over there.
Awesome job, Jack. Thanks.
Yep, thanks. I'm gonna run and grab a cup of water, and I'll be right back.
Yep. I gotta wait until we get clear of this one station, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay. All
right.
Yeah, I'll wait for the other link and then I'll join you. Okay. See you over there.
Yep. Yeah, folks, we'll be right there with more show, and we got the Vixen's Vault coming up right now. So let me get our Legion of Chaos going here. So hold on. Let me close this one out. There we go. And make sure that we are good on... Yep, there we go. That popped up right away. Good to go. I'm going to wait a minute and then get Vixen's Vault up and running. Because I don't want us going over tonight. Or under. I don't like shorten the show. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to make this call. All right. Sonia. Roger. David. DK. And Vicky. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, David, how you doing?
Yeah, doing well, Mark.
Hey, it's great to have you back. Been a while.
Yeah, I was on the. You sent the thing on for Jack's show, and then I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, just like right now.
Uh-oh, I hear someone with a
Yeah, that was me, just sorting it. Just had to plug my headphones into the other computer that's restreaming you.
Yeah. Let me get
All good
Jack
now.
back in. Jack will be
Sweet.
with us tonight. I think Mark and Sonia. I don't know where Roger's at. I know he's restreaming us. Let's get Jack.
Okay. Mate, he's probably grabbing a cup of coffee again. He seems to do it right before every segment starts or every show starts.
Yeah, me too. But I can do that doing what I do.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vicky's doing. I know Nancy can't make it in tonight.
Oh, Nancy can't?
No.
Okay. I was just about to ask where Nancy was once Jack said he was hosting the show.
she had an infection and they took her in, and
Was that after her operation? She's got an infection.
just recently.
Ah,
yeah.
shit.
So
Because
she
I think she had,
went in earlier today.
I think she had the operation like the day before last week's show. So it must have been like, last Tuesday for her or something.
Yeah.
Wow. What was it? The sinus problems?
Nah,
Yeah.
what was it?
No. She had
Her
surgery
back,
on her
wasn't it?
back. We're
Yeah.
getting ready to.
Oh.
We're getting ready to jump into Vixen's Vault here. Trying to call Jack in.
Yeah, I suppose the guy who's hosting should be there, eh?
Well, if not, I got it, but and I got Debbie here too, so I don't know
that's
how
right,
long
you said
Debbie
she's
can
there
make
for
it in
the-
with us.
Ah, I thought you said she was there for the second hour or something.
Yeah, but I might need to bring her in. I'm going to bring all
Ah,
this.
she's in there. Hi, Debbie. Hello, David.
Hi, Debbie. I
Mark,
know this is
Jack.
early, so I'm trying to get
Hi,
a hold of
Debbie.
Jack. Oh, there's Jack. Okay,
Jackson.
3, 2.
Mark, Edward.
Hello and welcome to the Vixen's Vault. Unfortunately, our hostess can't make it in tonight. She's sick, and we all wish her well. It is 2 July 2025, and it's 8 o'clock. And we're going to be talking probably about anything from conspiracy. We got Jack with us tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Jack. I think he's got some more cryptozoology for us as well. All right. And Debbie, I know you're with us too. I appreciate you both for coming in and helping me get a show up for Nancy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So if you need to bug out right now, Debbie, go ahead and come back on the second hour in the next chat. Otherwise, just hang with us. It's going to be good. Jack, it's all yours.
All right. Go ahead, Debbie.
I'm just gonna hang.
Good deal. We love having you around. So, and Miss Nancy Planetta is out this evening, and in for her, I'm Jack Carey, and we've got a roundtable of great people with us. We've got David Campione, we've got Deborah Chaney Perkins, we've got the across the pond there, Mark Edworthy, he's the classy one around. He brings the class to the show. He's always got a suit on and looking suave. You got to class up the joint there, Mark. You know, you got to class it up. We have Vicky Vass. Hello, Vicky.
Hello.
He's here.
And we've got Dark and DK Conspiracy. What's up, DK?
Hey, man, how goes it?
Good. How's everything going out there?
Yeah, good, except for the weather. It's crappy today.
Are you guys having summer or winter there?
We got winter. But it's only been starting to get cold and frosty for about the last week or so. And we should be like in the middle of winter.
Wow. Interesting. So much for my coming ice age theory.
I've got a different I've got a different theory on the fact that the number of days in the year are wrong, and that we've been losing like a day each year, and that's why the seasons aren't where they used to be. There's no climate change, it's the calendar that's messing with the seasons.
Oh, well, I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that idea.
Because I honestly think it's out by about 40 days since I was a kid, and I'm 47. So that's just a personal theory I've had. Used to be at the beach on Christmas. Now it doesn't get sunny for another month or so.
Isn't that the point of a leap year?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that would only be 10 days. I reckon it's out by about a month and a half. And that's in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's a crazy wee theory for everyone. I've had that thought for a while.
Yeah, that might kind of tie in with a topic I thought might be interesting. I've been researching a lot on Göbekli Tepe lately. What do you guys know about Göbekli Tepe and the Göbekli Tepe conspiracy of 2027, basically? Anybody?
The only thing I've heard is they recently discovered something else there. But I don't think I read the whole article. I think I just caught the headline. I don't think I saw it all.
Oh yeah, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger out there. But I'm referring to what they've already discovered there, which is mainly, for people that are unfamiliar, Galilean civilization in Samaria by many thousands of years, and it's weird because the people that built it intentionally buried it back in, covered it up to preserve it, which is just, bizarre. They wanted to preserve what they left. And it appears as though it was a message. They left us a message, and it's a scary message. And there's a number of pillars there that are T-shaped, and each pillar has an animal inscribed on it. And some of them are like chimera animals, like half human, half animal type beings. Some of them are just normal animals, but they're animals from all over the place. Like you wouldn't expect a lot of these animals carved into the pillars to have been seen by the same people in the same location, on the same continent even. And there's one particular pillar there known as Pillar 43, or the Vulture Pillar. And Pillar 43, it turns out, is the one that we have to look out for, because when they sort of deciphered what it was that the people were saying, and there's only one word ever discovered at Göbekli Tepe, and it's the word God. And it's the pillar, it's actually Pillar 18, and Pillar 18 depicts a time when there's an asteroid about to hit the earth. So it's like these people carved into the pillar, oh God, please save us from what's about to happen, right? But Pillar 43 tells us the time when it occurred, and apparently it happened during the Younger Dryas period about 13,000 years ago. And what's more interesting than that is that it kind of indicates that every so often the Earth goes through a period, goes through a meteor shower known as the Torrid meteor shower, which we do every year. But there are periods when the Torrid meteor shower actually unleashes holy hell upon the planet. And they were warning that another period of that was coming for us all. And is it possible that the powers that be knew or know that that is going to happen, and that's why they're building all their underground bunkers all around the world? What do you guys think?
Yeah, but I hadn't worked out the timeline. I was thinking it was the 2,600 years is when they generally have a reset. But then there's a lot of history that gets carried over and distorted.
Right.
But they don't want to tell us the truth that the current lifespan of our civilization is only this long. You just need to get rich enough to build yourself a bunker.
Right, exactly, you know. And it's interesting because the construction at Göbekli Tepe is extremely advanced. Like extremely advanced. Nobody, and these archaeologists are just beside themselves.
Is that the one where
well,
it's like actually
one
cut
theory
down
that
into the rock?
Hold on, DK. One theory that I heard too was that I'm getting feedback from someone. Was that
Vicky, I think
that Noah's Ark wasn't too far away from there, and his family built that. And that's why you see all the animals and stuff like that around there being presented on the on those ruins. That's what I last time I heard.
Yeah, well, that's interesting for sure.
But yeah, is that the one that's directly carved into the rock, Göbekli Tepe? Like the whole place is made out of solid rock, and it's actually carved from solid rock. It's not actually built.
I'm not sure if the pillars were built or if they're carved off from one piece of rock or not, but I know that.
Okay, I know there's one like ancient civilization where it's like that. I'm thinking it's Göbekli Tepe, but I could be wrong.
There's a place like that in India. I think you're thinking of that. And later on, they changed it. Theory that I built a cathedral there, and I even think Templars used it for a while.
Interesting.
I don't know. The one I'm thinking of is definitely like roped off sort of thing, and it's a tourist attraction-y type thing, and there's heaps of documentaries about it. So I'm thinking it could be Göbekli Tepe, but I'm not sure. There are a few strange places out there.
Well, there's every indication coming from these archaeologists that when they built this and they basically wrote this story in stone about this cometary impact taking place during the Younger Dryas, they did it after the impact had taken place. In other words, it wasn't. They had already survived this impact, and they're beginning to suspect that there were survivors from a ancient, very advanced culture that taught the local hunter-gatherer tribes around Göbekli Tepe the knowledge that they had to build this place. and that, these were the survivors of that impact writing a story to the future humans saying, look out. This is a reoccurring mechanism on this planet. Every so often, we go through a period where we get smacked with a gigantic asteroid and it wipes out most of humanity, and then we have to start again.
Yeah, see, that's interesting because I thought there was a few different things, but I guess they could all be triggered from an asteroid impact.
Right. And, you look at the Book of Enoch, for example, and in the Book of Enoch, you have Enoch describing that period. It's very weird. He describes seeing 3, what he calls volcanoes headed for the earth. And then he goes on to describe their impacts around the world in 7 different oceans, and that caused the worldwide global flood, right? Well, there's a part of the Book of Enoch that was apparently written by Noah himself, which is fascinating because you literally get to hear or read Noah's own words when he sees the first wave come up over the mountain ridge, and how the horrifying, scene that was when it occurred. It's truly something that sent chills down my spine when I read it.
Wow. So it's basically like a tsunami from the asteroid impacts.
Right. Apparently, they fragmented into 7 different fragments. Those impacted various oceans around the world, and that combined impact just caused not only a rapid melting of the global, ice caps, but at the same time, it, caused massive tsunamis. And most of the world's civilizations at that period of time, you're talking antediluvian civilizations, were all built along coastlines, because that's where a dual food source could be had. You could feed from the sea and you could feed from the land, right?
Yeah.
And today, you can count on one hand the number of underwater archaeologists around the world. And yet, our entire history is lying beneath those waves.
Really? One hand? I thought there was heaps of people out there looking into it. Just most of it gets shut down.
There's 5 main underwater archaeologists, and they get all the funding, and that's it.
Wow. Yeah, so the rest do get shut down, and they're the ones who just toe the policy line, keep the narrative and things.
Or is it just a commercial thing? It could be just a commercial thing. The person that can advertise most and get the revenue in.
Yeah. What would you say, Vicky? Because I know you have a biblical point of view for the flood.
I was just looking up I was trying to find where in Enoch that was I know I would find that very interesting. So this is all pretty new to me. And so there's no Book of Noah, is there? Oh, which is quoted in the Book of Enoch. That's what you were referring to, right? So,
well, mention of Noah, I think he said in the Book of Enoch.
Well,
yeah, which makes perfect sense because Enoch was Noah's great grandfather. Right. So, it makes sense that and at the time, when you read the Book of Enoch, it describes Noah's birth, right? And Lamech, Noah's father, is freaked out by this kid. First of all, he was gone a long time, and his wife Bidnosh, she comes back, and Bidnosh, which means daughter of man in ancient Hebrew, is actually pregnant. She has the baby, and it's described in the Book of Enoch as being able to speak complete sentences, have a full conversation at birth, and when it opens its eyes, light comes out of them. And Lamech freaks out. He's like, "Oh my God, this has to be one of the children of the fallen ones, right? This is one of the children of the Nephilim." When the Book of Genesis says they came unto the daughters of men and found them beautiful and had children by them. That's what he's thinking. He's thinking, "Oh my God, she she had sex with one of these guys, one of these, fallen angels.
Aren't the children the ones that are called the Nephilim?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's once they mate with a human, then the offspring is the Nephilim. Yeah.
So he's thinking
in the Bible, it says Noah was pure in his generations, which meant that he was not one of the Nephilim.
Yeah, well, interesting, because it has this account, right? And we don't really know what to make of it, but he's suspicious. And he goes to his father and Methuselah. And Methuselah goes to Enoch, and he's like, what are we going to do with this? This kid is like really freaky. And Enoch kind of brushes all of that aside, and he says, don't worry about that. This child will be unto you a savior, right? So it's very interesting then that we also have the account in the book of Enoch of when those, him seeing those waves coming over the mountains and how horrifying that must have been. But fascinating that all of that kind of coincides.
Yeah, maybe Noah was, it just says in the Bible that he was pure in all his generations, not Noah's wife, and not his children or his children's wives, because they would have had, compromised DNA or some sort of infiltration from the Nephilim.
Jack, you said Enoch was Noah's great grandfather.
Grandfather, I think. Grandfather.
I think maybe it was just the grandfather. Yeah.
Okay, I was just checking how long Noah and Enoch were meant to be alive for. Enoch was meant to live for 365 years, and Noah was meant to live for 150 years.
Yeah, it goes back further, and then some of them were supposed to have lived for 600 years, and apparently life expectancy just decreased down to what we have now.
Right.
Yeah, and the reason why you don't find all this in the Bible was because of the Nicene Council took out a bunch of the books and didn't allow the Book of Enoch in, along with Book of Giants, Book of Jubilee, and a bunch of and a whole bunch of other books known as Dead Sea Scrolls, and also the Apocrypha.
Yeah,
or the Gospel. Yeah.
Because they weren't part of.
No, that was
scripture.
That was just by the Pope demanded that they have a council and go through the book. I guess to make it smaller. I guess maybe it was too big for them to carry around all the time, because they all had to carry it around too. Since they were supposedly priests and monks, and to that order.
I've got another theory on why they used to live longer. Because in those books that have been removed, it mentions how the Nephilim basically turned cannibal and wanted to break through the firmament and make it to heaven. And the trees back in that time almost reached the firmament. So one of the archangels got sent down to cut down all of these giant trees, which is why there's so many mountains that are completely flat on the top. Those are supposed to be the tree stump of those original giant trees. So there used to be giant trees producing a lot more oxygen. But once the Nephilim tried to climb them to break the firmament, they got cut down. And now we're left with what, I guess to them back then would basically look like grass and shrubs. And that's what's producing our environment now, due to those ones being cut down. Which also explains the disappearance of a lot of larger creatures and things, because if there's not enough oxygen to support them, not everything adapts as quickly.
You need more carbon in order to have more oxygen, because carbon is what feeds the plants. So in our atmosphere, we had a heavy carbon atmosphere at one time.
Yeah, but produced lots of CO2, lots of bigger plants, produces a lot more oxygen. Yeah. And CO2 is produced majoritively. I don't think that's quite the right
major
word.
amount.
Yeah, it's from algae in the sea. Strangely enough, it isn't actually from plants on the land. Most of the CO2 is produced by, most of the oxygen is produced by like those organisms in the ocean.
And Jack
you got to
knows
remember
about,
how much water there is compared to land.
Jack also knows about a chemical way that the Earth has spheres in the oceans too that create oxygen too.
Yeah, that's a big conspiracy going on. The CIA discovered that there were these spheres. They seem to be ancient, billions of years old. It's a natural part of our planet, but they produce electric currents strong enough between them that they're able to actually strip away the H molecule and release oxygen. And they're thinking that this could have been a primal way for planets to produce oxygen prior to plant life, taking place. And now there's a number of underwater mining companies that are mining these, what should be, hands off. They're mining these stones for their rare earth minerals.
Hell. Do you know if they line up along the ley lines?
I don't, but I know there's a vast field of them off the coast of Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, a vast, vast field of them.
Do you know which coast? I wonder if they're anywhere near New Zealand or if it's the other way.
I think it was off the northern part of Australia, if I'm right.
Up towards Papua New Guinea sort of thing. Indonesia, out that way. It's up towards the Mariana Trench and everything too. That's a bit further north, but yeah, that's up around that way.
Yeah, so I mean, and because they're calling it dark oxygen, and now they're thinking that all of these planets that are out there that they've discovered that aren't in Goldilocks zones because they're a little too far away from their stars or whatever, can still have life because if they have these stones, they're still producing oxygen. So that's crazy. Which increases the number of possible life forms in the universe by an exponential amount.
Did another possibility a little bit different is that their DNA was perfect. So, and each generation, of course, would be a replication of that. But, was it just that it was perfect, so they were highly resistant to disease and illness, or their telomeres didn't rust? They wouldn't age. I mean, does that ever enter into people's thought process as to why they live so long?
Well, in my circles, the long lifespans are described by the planetary cycles of the Kali Yuga, and the fact that you have a period during our planetary cycle when we sort of pop out of a debris field that's blocking us from the center of the galaxy. And when you do that, the planet gets bombarded with these cosmic rays from cosmic center, from the galactic center. And when you get bombarded with these rays, it increases all kinds of things. It increases human intelligence, it increases lifespan, it increases creativity, it increases the biology of all life on the planet. And we go through these periods of what they call golden ages. That's on the ascending part of the so-called Kali Yuga, which is what we're in right now. So it could be that, back when they were recording these biblical ages, they were at the very pinnacle of that point when they were receiving all of these cosmic rays that end up increasing your lifespan. That's one theory that's out there.
And with that, we're going to go to break, and we'll come right back after this message and more. All right, we're on radio break right now. Great job, Jack.
Yeah.
Turning into a really interesting show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
you get some interesting
here's
topics
something.
started.
Here's something I want to. I forgot to ask you on your show in between break and that. What do you think about you know, when we're getting beamed with that cosmic energy from the core? All right, that we didn't get that signal that hit Voyager early, that beamed back into, you know, as the virus that you were talking about in that one show that you did.
Yeah. It's a topic that's really sort of.
So do you think those could be related?
Could very well be. It's really interesting because it's almost like we tripped some sort of cosmic tripwire.
Yeah, because
You know
if
what I
we're
mean?
so far out with that, with Voyager 2, or was it 1?
No, I think it's Voyager 1, yeah.
Voyager 1, okay. That it got hit with that already, or part of it. Changed it, all right?
Yeah.
And then
that it quantumly entangled with chips here.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, quite possible. And that created evolutionary change.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read through what one of the things Roger posted a few days ago? He posted 2. I read through the first one. It was actually really interesting. It was about how universes can theoretically be created if the creator is close to a black hole because of the time dilation. So they'd be able to live for a lot longer and have more control over everything else that's happening in a universe.
But if you're a type 5 or 6 civilization, you wouldn't need any of that.
I was going into like actual universe creation though.
Yeah, but I mean,
sorry, I didn't quite phrase it right. They were getting as close as they could to a black hole, and then creating a universe on the other side of it. So they're basically creating a whole new universe wherever the black hole comes out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And because of their proximity to the black hole, they've got like a lot of time to, you know, control and have a look at and experiment with how all these different universes are going.
Yeah,
because I don't know if it's just one at a time. I don't know how many.
When you look at it that way,
create.
When you look at it that way, what is time to a creator of something so immense?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know,
time lived in eons or seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That that matches with some recent scientific findings from the the Webb telescope. They took a picture of like all of the visible galaxies that are out there, billions and billions of them, and they determined that they were all rotating in the same direction, which shouldn't be happening. And the only way that should happen is if you were inside of a black hole. So it means our entire universe is literally like we're sucked into a black hole somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Or on the other side of it.
We're getting about 40 seconds out. Let's not get too deep or entangled in a deep conversation so that we can bring that back onto air.
By the way, Rogers seems to be floating around on D-Live now.
Yeah.
If you want to try and get a hold of him again.
Yep. Okay. We got 30 seconds or less. Actually less. Now I'm going to bring us in, and I'm going to turn it over to Jack again. Thanks, Jack. I really appreciate you coming in and helping out once again.
Anytime. So.
All right. We'll be coming back any second now. Hello and welcome back to the Vixen's Vault. It is 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time, January 2nd, 2025. This is the Vixen's Vault, and we're filling in for Nancy Planetta, the Wiccan Vixen, and I'm turning it over to, yes, Jack Carey.
Hello, everybody. I am tonight's Vixen in the Vault. I even have one of Nancy's dresses on, so I'm looking legit. And
he's not lying either.
Hopefully she's out there listening and laughing to tonight's conversation. But we were discussing a plethora of topics, just seeing where the rabbit holes take us this evening. And, you know, we've been talking about this whole idea of biblical lifespans, how that ties into what might be, you know, planetary cycles. It might be because they maybe they're just eating good stuff. Maybe they were eating healthier, more nutritious food. Who knows?
Well, that's definitely the case.
So, and we've been discussing, what appears to have been a planetary cosmic apocalypse of celestial bodies hitting the planet during what scientists refer to as the Younger Dryas period, but we would refer to it as the period of time when Noah's flood occurred. And this was a time that wiped out the ancient antediluvian civilizations that were out there. And some of those people survived with their knowledge. There was a diaspora around the world, and they shared some of that knowledge. And all of a sudden, you have stuff like pyramids being built on every continent simultaneously. Things like that. So we're kind of jumping down that rabbit hole tonight and maybe throwing in the conspiracy theory that there are some powerful, wealthy elites out there in the world that have been given direct knowledge that another planetary catastrophe may be about to take place.
Have you heard the theory about the fact that the pyramids themselves were basically bunkers? Apparently, They have stones that, if pressure came from the outside, these pyramidal shaped blocks would get pushed in and we'd shut everything from the outside. So that to actually be like pulled back out again when there was no pressure. So theoretically, they could end up being watertight and people could survive underneath them because no one's allowed to know what's underneath them. You're only allowed like the basic tour thing that you get to see online and stuff. But there's a lot more underneath that. There could be a whole city underneath the pyramids.
Well, those archaeologists are reporting that that's exactly what they just discovered using that new type of radar, is a vast underground city beneath the pyramids.
That one that they discovered, it looks more like basically a big generator. But if there's a big generator, there has to be something to generate that much energy for.
Yeah, that kind of matches there's some ancient writings by a Greek historian named Berosus who claims that he had gone to ancient Egypt and had made friends with the priesthood. There was a period of time when like the educated elites of Greece would travel to Egypt and mix with their priesthood, and they would share knowledge and stuff like that. And this was one of those sabbaticals. And while he's there, they're like, hey, let us show you something. And he describes them taking him down underneath Giza and walking him through an underground city that he describes as being vast. He said there was colonnade after colonnade after courtyard after courtyard. And he says, I quote him when he says, these are structures the likes of which the Greeks could never even build. And the Greeks were building like amazing structures at that period. And he asked them who had built these structures, and their reply to him was they were built by the crocodile kings. I always found that an interesting passage in his writings.
The crocodile kings.
Lizard people.
Yeah, I was about to say reptilians, but I mean, you look at the gods that the Egyptians worshipped.
Yeah.
One of them is a crocodile-headed creature.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So that's interesting stuff, given the fact
I think that one symbolized death or something, didn't it? The crocodile-headed creature.
Yeah,
or at least that's what we're supposed to think it means now. See, maybe it meant salvation from death, and that's why the crocodile people built a civilization.
Yeah, it
But
could
wouldn't
very
that mean that we're their pets?
could very well be. You know, there was this amazing, like, multi-series documentary put out called Magical Egypt. You probably saw it advertised at one point in the past, and I highly recommend watching it. It's fascinating. But the
Is it
producer,
still on YouTube or anything? Where's the easiest place to find that?
I don't know if it's on YouTube, but if you just do a Google search or Magical Egypt documentary, it's probably on lots of platforms.
Okay, oh, that's cool. It's probably even still on Rumble. Someone will have uploaded it somewhere.
Yeah, it's really cool because, you know, they talk to this ancient Bedouin guy, this super old guy that was like they had like oral history keepers. And he was like the last of this line of ancient oral history keepers. And they find this guy and they're talking to him, and he starts talking about the Causeway of Peace, which is an area of the Nile. And along the Causeway of Peace, there are 22 pyramids. They never even talk about them, but they're there. They're just smaller pyramids, but they're there. 22 of them.
Pyramids or obelisks?
No, they're actual pyramids. And he said that in ancient times, each pyramid vibrated to a different frequency, and that you would go to like the priest and they would diagnose you with an illness, whatever was afflicting you at that time, and you would get prescribed a particular pyramid to go to for that healing frequency.
Yeah. I have heard, well, I hadn't heard of all the different ones, but I had heard that was one of the functions of the pyramids. There's like a healing chamber in most of them.
Yeah, crazy.
Is that the same for the Stonehenge? Is that same kind of properties that it had healing? You know, it could put out frequencies or...
I actually always thought Stonehenge was more of like a clock, as in a way of keeping track of the seasons.
Yeah. I was thinking of timepiece as well.
Yeah, there's an amazing...
I think Stonehenge is a lot like Adam's calendar, just a newer update of it in a different location. That's all I think.
Because they do actually have pyramids over in the UK.
Yeah, well, you know, Stonehenge kind of ties into all of this perfectly. I'm glad you brought it up because there is an amazing book out there that was written by two really high-ranking Freemasons in the UK, and it's called Uriel's Machine. And they describe a very interesting theory with a lot of evidence to back it up that Stonehenge was actually had a hinge around it. In other words, a hinge was like a ditch that was filled with water all the way around the actual structure. And at nighttime, it would reflect the stars' lights into this, you know, into this ditch of water, this ring of water all the way around. And they could actually project and see the movement of stars better in miniature, like in this water, and that they were using Stonehenge as a way to predict when this cometary impact was actually going to take place.
Oh, wow. It's the first looking glass. Project Looking Glass.
Right. So the same cometary impact we're talking about that Enoch talked about that happened in the Younger Dryas that appears to be part of Göbekli Tepe's warning that will occur again. All of that is tied together.
And getting back to the Göbekli Tepe, what is supposed to happen soon?
Well, it basically says there are periods of time that we have part of these planetary cycles, And every so often, when the Earth goes through the Tauriid meteor shower, it meets up with another cycle of bigger meteors, and it directs them towards the Earth. So
Yeah,
that's in a nutshell.
You mentioned 13,000 years ago, when the last disaster happened. I would hope that we were just coming out of the Ice Age at the time. Ice Age ended around 11,000.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. He said when they hit, the heat and the impact did melt the ice and did cause tidal waves and cause the sea levels to rise. So that would have ended an ice age.
Right, yeah.
Just with the extra heat and the impact, it would have triggered off volcanoes, earthquakes, everything. So yeah, just with all that, it would have like basically reshaped the planet in one go.
Would that tie into Edward Casey's predictions of what the U.S. is supposed to look like?
Could, yeah, very well. Very well. The Edgar Casey maps are very interesting, and it's one of the reasons I'm glad I live where I live is because of those maps.
Is that the one where all of California basically falls into the sea, even though California never used to be attached, which is why I think it's Nevada or something, or Iowa, can't remember, Nebraska, somewhere inland anyway. There used to actually be water in between California, and California itself was a separate island. So the fact that they're saying that this could happen again means that at some point it actually did happen, and then at some point it got pushed closer to the land. So why would you think it couldn't get pushed back away from it?
Sure. So yeah, that seems like it all ties together into one big whole, which is very, very interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, all the history we've been lied to about. I love conspiracy stuff, man. That's awesome.
Yes. So I mean,
well, the thing is that the more you find out about different things, the more everything actually pieces together.
It does.
So you realize all the different things that you find out from every different person who just is an expert on one thing or another. All those things all end up piecing together. We're still trying to put this massive jigsaw puzzle together, and we've got no picture to look at. It's just about trying to find the pieces and putting as many together as we can.
Right. Yeah, as what is his name? The guy who wrote Fingerprints of Graham Hancock always says that the human species is a species with amnesia, and I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's so much amnesia as in the people who have the knowledge are keeping it from the rest of us.
True, yes.
I mean, it still makes the majority docile and ignorant, but it means that there are people who still have all that knowledge and are just withholding it from us so they can keep control.
Oh yeah, and that battle is the ultimate conspiracy, because this control mechanism that's been in place, and with it the control of information that kind of keeps everybody from knowing the bigger piece of the puzzle, the bigger picture of what's happening.
Oh, close! I saw a meme the other day. At one point, everyone said people were only stupid due to lack of access to information. Well, now there's the internet, so we know they were wrong about that, because there's still stupid people out there, even with access to information. Control.
Problem is that you're bombarded with too much information these days, or you've got access to too much information. Yeah. Again, not all of it's correct, and all of it's true information. Some of it's conspiracy, I should say.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's about learning to be discerning. You go watch everything you can, you start working out what just comes across as complete crap and what stuff is worth taking on. I mean, you can go watch someone who you don't even like, and they might actually say one or two things that were worth hearing. In like an hour or two, you get like one or two interesting bits of information from them. They're all controlled opposition gatekeepers, but every once in a while they slip up and something gets through. That's what you've got to look out for. So most of it is just distraction from any main thing that's going on. It is all just the circus. It is all just political politics. And that's to distract us from the fact that they're basically trying to completely enslave us.
Absolutely. Well, last week I talked about, the Earth being owned by a Type 3 civilization. We're just one big herd.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what we're seeing is the human control mechanism of, that's the herd's control mechanism taking place.
Yeah, it could be, but there's one movie that does that better than any I've seen. It comes across, when you first start watching it, it sort of comes across as a silly sci-fi movie, but it explains this whole thing better than basically anything else. It's called Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, yes. I love that movie.
Yeah. Does that not show these higher level civilizations basically owning and controlling different planets? And while they're having infighting, because someone dies, over who gets to inherit these other planets, it comes close to intergalactic war and things over who gets to own Earth, because apparently we have lots, well, in the movie anyway, we've got heaps of resources that they're after.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. The kind of shows you the internal family drama of what if a family was in control of a Type 3 civilization and they owned the Earth, and the Earth was kind of like a crown jewel to them.
Yeah, it was like the best of the planets they owned, and they were the I don't know, the highest level family or something. So I don't know if they owned everything, but they owned more than the others. And Earth was the prize jewel that they were all fighting over when their mother or whatever passed away. I won't wreck too much of the movie for anyone. It's actually worth watching. It really is. It's quite good. Is standard Hollywood bullshit by the end, but the storyline is actually really good. If you just pay attention to the storyline, it's actually worth watching. I mean, special effects are cool too, but
well, and how many sci-fi movies that were produced in the past ended up being highly accurate? Many.
Yep, way too many. Most of them, actually. It started with sci-fi novels way back.
Yeah.
See, people were writing stuff, and then people started making movies about it, and then people were making it. See, where did the idea come from first? Was the stuff already there? Like, did people actually know about it? Did some people remember it? Get told it by family members? Like, granddad or something told you a story about things he saw? So someone writes a book about it because it's not around anymore. So someone writes a book about it that makes it out to be science fiction so that it actually still gets published rather than trying to say it's fact. And go, well, if I say it's fact, everyone's going to ridicule me. If I write a sci-fi book about all the things that I've been told used to be around, maybe I can just publish it as fiction. There's more truth in fiction than most of the things we're told.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who was it? Wells, who wrote, 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea or whatever? There's something like
that was Jules Verne.
Or Verne, yeah. So there's like 30 inventions in that book that didn't exist at the time that all now exist.
Journey to the center of the Earth, Journey to the Moon. There's a whole sect of people called Vernians who believe everything that he wrote in his books is the truth.
Right.
But I can see Mark Edworthy laughing. That's actually true, man. There's actually a whole sect of people who are basically damn near cult worshippers of Jules Verne.
Yeah, I bet Jules was actually from Tartaria, too.
It It could be. He's a Tartarian prince.
Well, see, that's it. How many people could actually be remnants from Tartaria? See, maybe they are all the elites and they do actually know better, and we're just arguing with them. Who knows? Have you ever thought of that? Every once in a while I think of that, and it scares me. Like, we're fighting against the people who may actually know better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is a scary thought.
The guy who wrote Behold a Pale Horse, Bill Cooper, often made that point in his lectures. He often said, they're doing all of this because of planetary overpopulation and yada, 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 and this and that and the other thing. And at the end, he would say, and you know what? They're right.
Yeah, they're not. The idea of planetary overpopulation is a myth. If people were, and I'm not saying this is a great way to live, but if people lived as tightly together as they do in Indonesia, which is the most populous per area, like per square mile or whatever, of any population, the whole world's 8 billion would fit into like New York State. You want to tell me there's overpopulation now? That's just land we're not allowed to live on.
True. It would take an immense amount of infrastructure to get people to live on that land. But, every time you introduce a population, people want convenience stores and Walmarts and grocery stores and gas stations.
Here's an idea. All the people that came over, all the illegal immigrants, why don't you send them to the desert and get them to start growing shit there? They're used to the desert.
Well, a lot of them are, I guess.
They'd probably want to go back to the desert they knew than the desert they don't.
Yeah, well, they're not supposed to come and bring Africa here, but there's already a desert, so
Yeah, well, that'd be like that'd be like trying to send all your criminals over the ice wall to let those folks over on the other side deal with them instead of us.
Because you got to remember, the only reason they were leaving their country was because of war. They're refugees. It isn't because they didn't like the desert. It's because they said they were being persecuted. So if they're not being persecuted, here's a desert.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think we're interested. We're headed for some very interesting times in very short order. So, a lot of different things are kind of cross currents, if you will, are all kind of converging and at the same period of time, and that's going to make for some really interesting stuff in the near future.
Yeah, well, the point was 2012 for Looking Glass, wasn't it? No matter what, they tried to change and they'd look through to the future to see what happened. After 2012, nothing they tried to change worked. This all does head towards a singularity. Apparently, it scared the people in charge of the project. I don't know if that means it's good for us or bad for us, but apparently it scared the people in charge of the project. The fact that there was only one timeline left from here.
Well, and with that, it is that time for our midway break. So, I'm going to take us out to break. We'll be back, and we're going to have more conversations, and we'll probably have Deb Perkins in with us, too, on the second hour of the Vixen's Vault. All right, we're on radio break now.
Cool.
Thank you again, Jack. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to everybody.
Yeah, and if you can come in on second hour with her, that's fine too. I don't know. I think she wants to talk a little bit about spirit photography and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Has she tried the water? The water, like to put a picture under the water and you freeze it thing, and it comes up, like the ice comes up with the pictures.
I don't know. Deb's done a lot of different things over the years, and that's how she started out in paranormal. Is she started out taking pictures, but she does it just like David. She was doing it professionally, but not as big time as Dave. All right, hold on here.
She didn't put her film
Yeah,
through
where
the
is that Dave
washer, did she?
Campione, anyways?
I'm right here.
Yeah,
I was on.
all
I was on
quiet
mute.
and stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, we got a lot of storms in the area here. I know it's
Yeah.
just been crazy. It's been
I thought
crazy.
you were. For a minute there, I thought Goliath got a hold of your leg and was chomping down the rest of you.
Oh my God, Goliath! Oh my God, he's so big.
Well, when this chat
definitely
ends, when this chat ends, I'm going to start up the next one to make sure we have enough time to get out. Okay.
Yeah, it says it's going to go right now. Or
yeah.
Are you
like
getting
to have a
the
big shout out to all those folks in the chats. Appreciate each and every one of you. All you great folks, whether you're in Kick, D Live, Facebook, whatever, you know, we love and thank each and every one of you all for joining us tonight and during the stream. If you've been here from the very beginning, that's like icing on the cake to me. But you know, I appreciate you, even if you can come in for a few minutes to, you know, join us with your time. And sounds like we're getting ready to break off that other one. Looks like, but you know, I'm gonna start up this next call here in just about 30 seconds or so. All right.
Cool.
So
Good, everybody.
all right.
Good night, Jack.
Good night,
Yeah.
guys.
See you on the next one.
Yeah. Well, we're not done here, but you know, Jack may be done. There you. And with that, here comes the next round of the Vixen's Vault. Get ready, because I'm starting it up right now. Do. Get our people in here, our folks in. One. Uh-oh. What's going on? Hello? Uh-oh. Got a problem. All right. Let me check and see what's going on over here in the oh, that's why. Close teams, bring it back up. Right. Nope. Sorry folks, just give me a minute. It's not letting me. Hello? Anybody there?
Just me, I think. I don't see anybody else.
Hold on here, Deb. Oh. Close that out. Let me restart Teams.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Let me quit Teams. Task manager. Oh boy. Yeah. We got plenty of time, folks. Sorry. This happens sometimes. We get things going and it locked it up. Yep, there we go. Let me try to get Teams back up and running. Good thing we are on the There we go. Do. And we'll get this going again. Sorry, folks. This does happen from time to time. I will get us up and going.
We are back.
Someone was trying to make a call earlier, and it's like, hey, David, let me add the rest of the folks in here.
Someone was trying to make a call earlier. Hey, David, let me add the rest of the folks in here.
I have a player open. Someone has a player open over there.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry. Yeah, I was just wondering what was happening, so I just looked onto D Live just to see what was happening with your issue.
Sorry, folks.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah, I was getting the echo also, but I had an extra window in there.
That was me.
Yeah. That's okay, Mark. I thought it was mine. I had two windows open, one on top of.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nah, man, nothing. No, the only people whose screens were highlighting were Mark and
we are
Vicky's.
back. Hello and welcome back, folks. This is Vixen's Vault, Hour 2. Sorry we ran over a little bit on our break because we had some difficulties with our chat program. So please come on back. We got everything going again. Appreciate each and every one of you out there. Debbie, you in? Come on, Deb. I'm turning once you come in, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Here she
I'm
goes.
here, but what do you
There
mean?
you go.
Don't turn it over to me.
Yeah, it's
These
all
guys are
your
deep.
show now. You got the...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in control.
Oh, these guys are deep.
So, Deb, what do you want to talk to us about tonight?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had to talk at all. I was just listening to everybody.
Oh,
I was enjoying, I was
That's-
enjoying it, man. Like,
Okay,
you know,
I'll get you started then. See, in the
get me
break,
started.
Mark
Oh,
was,
boy.
in the break, Mark was talking about how you did spirit photography.
Yep.
And I asked him if you ever did put a petri dish of water over like words or anything like that, and then froze it to see if the words come through or things like that, pictures and stuff.
I've never done anything like that. But that's a unique way of doing something, I suppose. Now, is that something people do for a spiritual connection?
It's showing that water has
It
some
does.
sort of memory and things. Yeah.
I think it has a connectivity to spiritual energy and poltergeists or ghosts or entities, whatever we want to call them. I do think that there's a water base. Always have. Because a lot of paranormalists that are serious, when they do their research, it's always best to do it in a more moist climate or a more moist area. There's more hauntings. You don't hear about too many ghosts in the desert, right? So I'm just thinking that water has a huge element to evolvement.
You might actually like the show I did on Rumble on, well, my Sunday, your Saturday. So I had a paranormal investigator on as a guest. He stopped doing it because something latched onto him after one of the investigations. Dude named Lou Rock. Because he used to do explorations with some group called The Fam. He reckons they've got millions of followers. He's got about 25k himself. But they got like millions or something, eh?
That's interesting. I don't know of them, even though I've done. Gosh, I've been researching since 1999, but I don't know everybody anymore. Like it's like.
I don't know many names either. Don't worry. I've watched lots, but I couldn't remember half the people's names. It's just because I actually know him. He turned up on my D-Live channel a while ago when he was in a real down state about everything he'd been through and how it had just about wrecked his life because this thing had latched onto him and just destroyed all his relationships and wrecked everything for him. And yeah, so he turned up feeling real down and stuff. He said he'd been on my channel for a while, but that was the first time he chatted. And so, yeah, and here we are, like, I don't know, maybe a year later or whatever.
You're talking about attachments there, DK.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He said he doesn't know what it was, but there was some entity latched onto him. We even went through the fact that it could have just been some frequency, because it was a lot of what he was saying was basically similar to voice-to-skull technology type thing. And he was saying he's even gone through that thought process himself, going, was it just that? Was I just getting messed with? Did someone drug me? Did I drink something there? He's going through everything he could think of. But apparently, well, he said like some 15-year-old kid told him what he saw happen. He said there was like a big black cloud came out behind him and things like this, and his eyes went black. And then he passed out or something. Yeah, there's like, yeah, real crazy stuff, eh?
How long was the attachment for, DK?
He said it was roughly 8 months, but it screwed up his life for several years.
Wow. That's a lot.
But it screwed up his life for several years.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You got to be careful doing any things like that. That's what people don't understand. That they just go out and do things and they don't know how to protect themselves. And then he
didn't just. That's the thing. He didn't just go out. He'd been doing it quite a bit. Just one time, something didn't go right and grabbed him. And that was it.
Well, you still got to protect yourself.
Yeah, as in you're supposed. He's fully Christian and everything as well. He even knows you're supposed to bless everything and sign off and everything. Yeah, he knows it all still. Yeah. I mean, he still plays with a spirit box every now and then, but more at his house. He doesn't go to the haunted places much anymore. I think he said he's got one coming up in several months or something, though. Someone's asked him to go along on one, so he's trying to make himself go and do it again.
That's a good idea.
Sorry. I said I also believe that a lot of people can manifest what they want. So when they try to put that out there, something might attach to them because their manifestations might be extremely high.
Yeah, you've probably seen a lot of that, Debbie, because you've done a lot of paranormal research, even with some pretty big name folks at times. So yeah, why don't you, a lot of people know you as Debbie Perkins from the Debbie Perkins Hollywood Red Carpet show, but there's more to Debbie Perkins than that. She's done USA Paranormal too. Like, she's done a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, I interviewed everybody that was in anything to do with paranormal, for UFOs to Bigfoot to cryptozoology, you name it, crystal skulls. Mark turned me on to a lot of people, but I actually did get to know a lot of people. And everybody's got a great story, And it's hard not to believe people because they witness these things.
Yeah. I've only seen UFOs, ghosts. I don't even know what else at this point. Lots of things. Saw ghosts saw UFOs 24 years ago. It was just before 9/11. How's that for crazy? Like within a month or two before 9/11 was when I saw UFOs.
I didn't hear that. Was that right? Before 9/11, huh? Wow.
Yeah, out camping with a girl. I walk out. Yeah, apparently I've got missing time. I didn't notice it. But I walk outside because we were in a wee cabin thing that was only 3-sided. It was open on one side, like a hunting cabin thing. And I just walk outside to go for a piss. And I see these 3 lights in the sky, 3 orbs, perfect triangle, equilateral triangle formation, flat side on the bottom. 3 light green, pale orbs flying along faster than jets, and New Zealand doesn't have jets anyway, so I couldn't mistake it for a jet in my country. So flying along in the distance above the trees, faster than jets. One stops dead, the other 2 keep going. They instantly just stop dead. The other 2 carry on at the same speed. I'm just standing there looking at it going, what the fuck?
Oops.
Then, oh, my bad. Then,
okay,
the
you're
third
done
one,
for the night.
Did you communicate with it, DK?
I don't know. It shot instantly back into formation at instantly the same speed as the other 2, even though they had still carried on and not slowed down, and this one stopped dead, then instantly shot back into formation with them. The girl I was staying with walks out of the cabin's like, what's taking so long? Looks up, sees them, screams, and goes, not again, and runs back into the cabin.
Well, if you communicated with them through telepathic means, you could have taken a ride.
I could have done. Especially seeing as I honestly thought it was like 5 seconds. And for her to walk out and go, what's taking so long? It's like, I'm wondering if there is actually missing time thing, because I honestly thought it was like 5 seconds that I was standing there. Or, go up for a piss and then stand there and stare at that for 5 seconds. And then she's like, what's taking so long? Like,
yeah,
I didn't actually think to ask, how long do you think I was out there? Yeah. I never actually thought to ask that. I never got an answer for that. But apparently it's like it was a long time because she actually came out looking for me.
Seconds is nothing for somebody to come out unless she was scared,
Yeah, and she wasn't scared until she came out and saw what I was staring at. And she's like, oh no, not again. I'm like, what? And I turned my head when she said this, by the way. They're flying along in the sky, I'm staring at them. She walks out, and is like, what's taking so long? I'm like, and then she's like, oh no, not again. I turn around and go, what? As she walks back in, turn back, and they're all completely gone.
Yeah, but how come she said, oh no, not again? Because you've seen them together before, or she's seen them before?
I think she was getting at that she had, and that she'd been abducted.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Oh, so they were checking you out to see that you were all clean for her then, huh? I hope you were wearing protection that night,
possibly.
But anyways...
I mean, I'm not kidding you. I have no idea.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, and David will probably let you know too. They never use gloves.
All right. They were probably wondering what you were probing.
But yeah, they were annoyed I was probing them back.
Oh, God.
We don't want this guy. Nah.
Well, that's pretty cool that person that she's seen him before or had missing time or something. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
That girl though was quite crazy. Said she was a white witch, been involved with satanic rituals, all sort of things. And this was my girlfriend for only 3 to 6 months.
How many?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. That was enough. 3 to 6 months was crazy enough.
Yeah. You could have been cursed by that woman.
Yeah, but Debbie has her own UFO experiences too.
When I was a little kid, I was a teenager. I saw a triangular one in the middle of the night, hovering over like a garden, but I didn't hear it. I couldn't hear it. I thought, and then I was like, why would a helicopter land there? That's a stupid place for a helicopter. You know, like, come on.
How big was it?
What's the government doing to us? But what'd you say?
How big was it?
I don't know. It was quite a distance away from me, but it was big enough to, and it was triangular. There was only like 3 lights on the whole thing, but it was hovering and never landed. But it was gone in a second. And I thought I was having like a dream. I thought I was seeing things or dreaming, but I never forgot it because it was forever in my brain. But you know, people believe that they keep an eye on their seeds. Because or some of the human beings are part of that DNA.
Yeah.
I go back into the blood types, you know, and the negatives. And
it's also like, it's also the connections and things that people have, the frequencies people operate on, I guess. Some are more in tune with some of these things, whether it be the paranormal or whether it be the UFO side. There definitely seems to be some people who are more in tune.
I think that's why they get abducted, maybe. I've been to the big conventions that they have for the UFO experience to speak that they had here, and I listen. I sit down and listen to what they talk about being abducted, and I just wonder what would make, you know, how do they get chosen? Because I want to say it would be on a chosen level to be picked, and then they do all that stuff to them, and then they put them back in their beds like nothing ever happened.
Yep. And then most wake up not recollecting anything.
Have you found that these people, it tends to happen within families or like related people tend to have that experience, the same experience with, you know, UFOs? You know, when they're grabbed, abducted.
I only know of the Hewan sisters, but they're Starborn support. They're the ones who actually had the big convention up here. But I just know of the twins, the Hewan sisters, Debbie and oh my gosh, sorry, I just lost my brain. I worked this morning. My brain's a little tired. But I just know those 2 girls. They've done a few TV programs about their experiences, but they believe they were completely abducted and they had things happen to them that probably are quite private, but they remembered.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Yeah, lots of crazy stories out there from people who start acting strangely and then go through that, was it get hypnotized or whatever, and suddenly recollect everything.
Well, I was on a radio program or small group out of Western North Carolina some years ago. The friend of mine, he hooked me in to talk to some of the people and about they were abducted. And the one lady, she said she was abducted. Oh God, I don't know, like 7 or 8 times ever since she was a little kid. And she's in her 70s now. At the time, she was in her 70s and mid 70s, 74, 75. And I said, well, was it the same people? She said, yeah, it was the same people. And I said, well, why do they keep abducting you, and what do you have to offer them? And she couldn't answer the question. And but which I find bizarre that See, I don't believe in abductions. I don't believe it actually goes on. I think it's done by, well, I believe it goes on, but it's done by the U.S. government. That's my opinion of it.
Yeah.
And
I was watching X-Files last night, and it just happened to be an episode that was going on about how the abductions were actually carried out by the government using stolen alien technology to pretend that they were aliens. That was actually the episode I watched last night.
Huh. Yeah, well, anyway, the lady, I mean, I met a guy at a radio station in South Florida who was, I don't know, just came out and I was going in, and they said, oh, yeah, he was abducted. And I looked at him and I said, and for what? Why did they abduct you? And then what did they do? And he said, well, I don't have time right now to talk about it. And I said, well, I don't believe you were actually abducted. I think he was. I felt he was a charlatan and just feeding off that because that's when all this stuff really started happening. Was in the late '80s in South Florida anyway. And when I was living down there was a lot of people coming through and they were giving lectures and doing radio programs and saying that, oh, they were abducted and they did this to me and they did that, and I'm thinking, I just can't imagine. I never that was the first person I ever met who said they were abducted. And I was around this thing like 40 years and never met a person until this guy in South Florida in the late 80s.
Yeah, as I said, I met a chick in when I was 23 back in 2001.
But why do you think that they took you?
I don't understand the why, because you've got to if you're going to start assuming, like, if it's the American government, it's obviously because they've got some copy of your blood, DNA, or whatever, and they think you're a good specimen for something. If it's an alien intelligence, I have no idea what they base their selection criteria on. So how would an abductee know why they were abducted unless they were specifically told?
Well, because I mean, I look at the only one that I actually believe actually happened was the Betty and Barney Hill thing in Exeter, New Hampshire in the early 60s. Yeah. But if you, DK, if you got regressed or hypnotized, I'm sure you would come up with something, and that's what they do. They hypnotize and then they plant the stuff in your brain.
I've heard that. If I was getting hypnotized, there would definitely have to be someone who I trusted sitting there watching it. I would never get hypnotized by myself for any of that.
No. You can't trust them.
No. Like, I know, I'm not getting like implanted memories from some hypnotist. But no thanks. I've seen what Derek Brown can do to people. No thanks.
Also, there's the question of if some of these individuals are publicity seekers, or if some of these people are, let's say, mentally all there.
Ill. Yeah.
Unbalanced.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you just start with trying to debunk things, and the things you can't, you have to consider.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Like being a conspiracy investigator, you start with trying to debunk everything. The things you can't is what you are left with. So, okay, I guess I have to put more time and effort into that one. Damn.
What was the famous Sherlock Holmes quote? If you rule out all possibilities, then only the improbable is possibility, or something on the line.
In an infinite universe, not only is anything possible, it is probable and occurring somewhere right now.
There you go. Basil
like
Rathbone said that.
That's a crazy quote. Hey, that's a crazy quote because people have crazy thoughts. And it means if you can even think of it, it means it's happening somewhere.
Hey, Mark,
this is why this is why People need to watch their thoughts.
That's right, and it's time for a break, and we'll be right back after this, folks. Hold on. There you go. Now we're on radio break.
Hey Debbie, I didn't know you were.
Sorry about
No, we've talked about this. Sorry, you know.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, David. Trying to hear you.
Come on.
I didn't know you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was quoting myself in the moment.
No.
Yeah, my
this
bad.
Is how many shows now, DK? We've been through this.
Yeah.
I can accept your apology, you know, but it's, you know, if I get knocked off stations because of you, I can't have you on anymore.
Yeah,
you
I
understand?
Get that. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do, man. I do. As I
Put
said,
that
I am
beer
sorry.
down. Put that beer down.
I'll send over the $1,500 if I can.
To which station?
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'll take
because the stations don't work like that with me. They'll just cut me off. All right. And they don't even need to tell me they're cutting off. They just do it. If something comes up, you know, they just click, it's done, and then they never come back. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not here for money. I'm not here for anything but, you know, getting my hosts out.
Yeah. I get that.
All right.
I'm sorry, man. I fully apologize. I'm sorry. As I said, that was just me quoting my story, and that's why I didn't even catch myself this time. That was just dumb. Because that is exactly what I said at the time. That's all.
Well, we just
so,
got,
yeah, apologies.
You know, I like having you on. You have a lot to contribute, you know, but
I know. I just got to watch my language.
Yes.
I know. Maybe we need to do more practice shows not on air so that I can get used to not swearing.
Yeah. Svetlana in the D-Live chat, and all you other great folks out there, whether you're in D-Live, Kick, D-Live, YouTube, Rumble. Appreciate everybody over there. BitChute as well. Facebook, all our fans over there.
Yeah, but see, you do realize, here's me actually apologizing, and everyone on all those panels, platforms is hearing it. It's just the radio stations that aren't.
Right now.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean.
But
I am
still,
actually apologizing and stuff.
But still, they're not going to care.
Yeah, I know, because they still get the fine. Yeah, I get it.
All right.
Hey, Debbie, why don't you
are
talk
you back?
about how you did spirit photography when you come back here? What you experienced?
Yeah, let's talk about pictures, because we got two great photographers in the chat. All right, and I'm going to bring us back. Debbie, you there?
Still on the mute. She probably didn't hear us.
I hope she didn't go to sleep. I know she's really tired. She worked today
I'm not sleeping yet.
Okay, I'm bringing us back right now. Here we go. Welcome back to the Vixen's Vault. This is the last quarter of the show on the second hour. All right, and we have with us Dave Campione. We have Debbie Perkins from the Debbie Perkins podcast. Used to be radio show. Mark Edworthy, DK Conspiracy, Dave Campione, and last but not least, Vicky Vaz. And I'm turning it back over to, that's right, Debbie Perkins.
You need to cut that out, Mark. Put me on the hot seat. That's so funny. But anyways, what did you say, David?
Well, you should talk about what you did with spirit photography and then what process and what kind of results you came up with.
All kinds of different stuff, David. Like, it was really originally, I think the very first photograph I caught was, not that we all care about anomalies, because most investigators don't. But my very first one that I actually caught that looked like a weird anomaly was huge. It was in a graveyard, and I took a picture of it, and I didn't even know I was catching it. Like, it just came up in the picture. But a lot of the spirit photography that I do,
Dave,
catching some apparitions, and a lot of them are surrounding the graveyard areas, but historic locations also have a vast amount. But you just gotta, I look at my images like an ultrasound, like a photograph. And I don't know how it happens. I don't know why I'm able to do that. I mean, I think there's a lot of people because I've reviewed other people's work, but I think it's weird how that happens, but it's like they're watching.
What kind of camera do you use?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I was using a Canon.
With black and white film or color film?
It was color. Well, it was a digital. I think it's 10 megapixels, but at the time that was like an $800 camera. And I think anybody can capture things with any type of camera. I think even the phone.
Yeah.
Is
I've only seen one picture in real life, like an actual picture that someone showed me that I had no explanation for. It was an ex-girlfriend, and she was taking a photo of her brother from behind. He was standing in front of a fireplace. The fire was going. There's a mirror above the fireplace. So she must have been just off center because you could see his face in the mirror. But he was holding a plaster skull. And the wee strip along the top of the fireplace, like round the mantle, the wee strip on the edge was obviously reflective or something. So in that strip along the edge, the eyes from the skull were glowing, and all the flames from the fire were actually coming out of the fireplace and were around him. And she was saying that the fire was only like small. It was an open fire in a house. The fire was just small. And in the photo, all the flames are like halfway around him up to like head height coming out of the fire. And this was an actual photo. She showed me the photo that she took of her brother.
The location that they were at.
Wow.
The location that they were at. What was the history behind it? Was there any like?
I don't know enough, but I don't know enough, but their mum ended up going into a mental home. Like, this is while they were still teenagers, like when the photo was taken.
Sounds like an entity.
I've known this family since, because I was friends with her older brother. I didn't end up, like, I've been friends with her brothers because one brother's a year older than me, one brother's a year younger than me, and she's like about 3 years younger than me. And so I was friends with her two brothers, like, from the age of about 13, all through teenage years. And she came and stalked me when I was like 22, 21. But that's how I ended up meeting her properly. And when she showed me the photo, it was like I'd known them back when this would have been taken, but I didn't see the photo till I was actually with her and she showed me the photo. Then no one spoke about it.
And it makes you wonder if they had other things that happened, you know.
Well, as I said, like, their mum ended up getting, like, hospitalized and shit for a while. So, I don't know, maybe that house really did, like, that property, that house really did have bad vibes like that.
It could very well could be the property, but it also could be an attachment to an item or a person. And
this is true. Yeah.
Maybe one of the kids, you know, kind of dragged one home because they're innocent, you know, and Yeah, and a lot of negative will attach to anything that's they can suck dry for positive energy. That's why people end up in depression, go mental,
I'm
lose their.
thinking it was her. I find out later she's a black witch, has the satanic Bible, and cast a love spell to try and get me.
Well, that's your terrible luck. I'm telling you right now. That's what happens when you mess with them crazy women. Soon as you see a woman doing that witchcraft, get the heck away.
I never saw it. I never saw it. She told me later that she'd cast a spell, like a love spell, to try and get me.
Oh,
and all that did was mess with my head. Am I here because I want to be, or is it because she cast a spell for me to want to be here? Yeah, it didn't actually make things better. It made things worse. Things ended not long after that.
Well, because the spell ended,
and that was because she told me that broke the spell. That was the first girl I was in love with who cast a love spell on me. How messed up is that?
That's crazy. Yeah, I hope you ran. I mean, run real fast. That's what you got to do. I left town actually. That does lead to paranoia. Like, oh my god.
Actually, it's real strange. I bounced from that chick to the other chick, who was a white witch, who was the one that I saw the UFOs with. So I went from a black witch to a white witch, and then I left town.
You were attracting the wrong kind of girls.
Obviously. I left town.
I'd leave the country. The heck with the girls. Oh my Godfrey. Sounds like you got involved in some real negative. You're lucky you didn't get like a curse or attached to something. Like that girl forever. She could have been married now.
I did, but I couldn't. Because I kept finding out, even after we broke up, she was just like, keep hooking up with guy after guy after guy. And it's like, I can't go back to that. I can't go back. Yeah. Yeah. The worst thing is,
having all kinds of fun.
when a guy who's young, the first person they fall in love with is a nympho, you kind of do get a bit attached.
Yeah, but
Well, David, can you expel on that? You're all quiet and stuff.
Come on into this one, David.
Yeah, and Vicky, come on. I think we need a cleansing now or something.
I reckon. I think my soul
I'm bringing up the fire extinguisher right now.
Our Father, who art in heaven.
Oh my God!
Actually, that's something that Lou pointed out. Like the dude who I did the paranormal investigator interview with on Sunday. That's something he pointed out. He said, if you've been possessed, if you know the gods, but like the Lord's Prayer or whatever, if you have actually had an attachment, you're possessed, you cannot say it. I personally only know about half of it, and I can say that. But if you're religious and you can't say the Lord's Prayer, it means something's attached itself to you.
Well, that's what they made the people, during the Salem witch trial. One of them,
I was just thinking I was just thinking the 1970s film The Exorcist, when you mentioned that. I think there's a line in there in relation to not being able to say the Lord's Prayer.
Okay, so in today's age, we don't burn people, we just soak their heads in the toilet now, right? So
we just get them cancelled online. Didn't you know that?
That too.
Just get them cancelled. Cancel culture, so they can never speak to anyone again.
Just send them to Salem, Massachusetts.
Hey, that's right up near you, though. It's like Yeah, I guess if you're going,
Yeah,
you
don't
could
bother
visit.
me. I enjoy Salem. It's actually quite a quaint little town. And they do focus on the witch trials and all that. They do reenactments.
Oh, is that right?
They do
I've never been
reenactments
there.
in the street. Absolutely. Yeah, and I've investigated in Salem. There's a few. Well, a lot of the buildings are all connected by underground tunnels because back in the ship days, way back, 100, 200 years, whatever it is.
1600.
Yeah. They actually would bring the cargo up through those tunnels, and it would start out like one tunnel or maybe a few on the beach, whatever. But they would have one that would divide up and they would go to different areas. It looked like a little city underneath there.
And that's when George Washington sent ice up there to raid.
Yeah.
Presumably, a lot of these tunnels became sewers, or became the infrastructure, or became the start of Massachusetts sewer system.
Oh, great.
They filled in a lot of the they filled in a lot of those tunnels and blocked them all off so that people would not get hurt because they were so old.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know in Savannah.
But I didn't know that even existed in I've heard of such things, but I just didn't know that it existed just in Massachusetts. You know? So I thought that was kind of cool to be able to be in one of those. Because I got to go in, the store owners allowed us to come into the basement and check out that tunnel. And we didn't get very far in it. But it still was, it was weird, but it was so true.
But it made of brick?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
A lot of work, yeah.
A lot of work, but for a very important necessity, too, because cargo was easily stolen. You know, going from the ships to land, there's always been thieves. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know that. They had thieves in those days? I find that amazing.
Thieves every day.
Oh, come on, David. You and I are probably some of the oldest folks here, all right? We remember back in the old days when, pirates sailed the seas.
Pirates, yeah, the pirates, yeah. What was it? What was the one we had? We had one in Florida named Bonnie, Pirate Bonnie, and she dressed as a man, and she was ruthless. She always dressed as a man, and she had her own ship and all these guys with on, but they never knew she was a female. And there were two of them. There was another one. I can't remember the name of the other one, but they were pretty ruthless. Yeah. Yeah, so that's probably why they built all those tunnels. Well, Debbie, could you walk through them, or do you have to bend over, or what?
No, they were tall.
I
would say they're probably 6 feet. I wouldn't say they were much taller than 6 feet, but they were oval. They were very oval shaped, and we couldn't get very far because it was all blocked off. But they did that because each company was connected to the next company through that tunnel, and God forbid, somebody get in there because they can get into the buildings because they come right up through their basements.
Oh my God, Debbie, that sounds like you actually was in Europe, over in Paris, France, going through the catacombs over there underneath Paris and the Vatican and all that. But Mark, chime in here. Come on, buddy.
I was also thinking, where I am in the southwest of UK, there's a lot of old Roman tunnels in one of the major cities, not that far away where I was born. There is still a tour guide, tourist thing with Roman tunnels.
Yeah, and I bet they were afraid of thieves too. That's why they built them for the ships, to come in and that and use those tunnels to hide from, the thieves up on the up in the little villages and places like that, right?
Yeah, but just realize We've already been lied to about everything. How long do you think those tunnels were really there? Do you think they just built them for smuggling?
Well,
That's a good question, really, if you think about it, because they could have been there for, well, you're talking about England. They could have been there for a very long time.
Yeah, well, like there's tunnels all over the world that could have been there for thousands of years, and just people just keep refurbishing them and expanding them. It's like they're already there, just we're not allowed to know about it. I mean, America has spent trillions of dollars on deep underground military bases.
Well, we're
like
not the only ones.
144 or something.
We're not
there's
the
like
only
144.
ones there, DK. You know, they got, you know, they got them over in Russia too, big enough to support the whole Russian population. They have cave system over there and dug all out, and I'm sure the Chinese do as well. You know.
But what I was getting at though is like we know about the American ones, and we know how much money has been getting poured into them from black budgets and things.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. So the fact we actually know something about this. Phil Schneider was speaking about it decades ago. So we actually know that decades ago there was this many, and he was one of the workers who was expanding them and things till they broke through some wall they shouldn't have.
Well, we all know that we don't just build our own. We built for everybody else, just like.
Connected to a bank? I watched too much TV. Was that wall connected to a bank?
To the bank, yeah, that's right.
It was actually he broke through a wall and there was aliens on the other side and they started shooting and killed everyone except him.
That's a
he
good
got
story.
shot too.
He got shot. One of the soldiers dragged him onto the elevator, hit the up button. No other soldier made it out.
Yeah,
He's the only person who made it. He lost fingers. He got fingers shot off his hand. He got half his chest burnt to crap by whatever plasma laser weapon they used.
Phil Schneider. Yeah.
In Dulce?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dulce base. Yeah. Yeah, he broke through a wall when they were boring a new tunnel. Some wall collapsed because they got too close, must have got too thin, collapsed. And it was just like a group of these aliens standing there. I think he said they were large greys.
Or were they the tall whites? Do we really know? It was kind of dark.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know, come on. You know, if they were in a tunnel, it could be dark. So they.
Yeah, so they might have looked
They
gray.
could be pink. They could be pink. All right, or rainbow colored. We don't know. They were in a tunnel, right?
Yeah, they would have had lights and stuff though.
Oh, you sure about that? You know, now, come on now. David will tell you when a UFO flies over. All right, it'll knock your car lights out and all the power goes out. Same with your house and all that other stuff. You know, if they're down there and that really happened, there was no lights.
They went in a spaceship. He just broke through a wall and there was a whole group of them standing there.
They'll just phase right through. Come on now. They're aliens, for crying out loud. Right, David?
Yeah, they just beamed right in there, right into that chamber. That's all.
Yeah.
They were beamed in. Then they beamed out, like the Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
Thought projection, you know?
Yeah.
No.
We're not the aliens that you were looking for, so it's going to cost you all these people and some fingers off your hand and feet and this, that, and the other. You know, go your own way.
He lost like 2 or 3 fingers off his left hand, and I don't know. He must have had his hand up. It burnt through his fingers, burned his fingers off, and hit him in the chest. Like he was fully hospitalized. He was almost killed by it.
Yeah, but the strangest part about
especially by the time the elevator got him back up to ground level.
Yeah, but that wasn't the strangest thing that ever happened to Phil Schneider either. The strangest thing that happened to Phil Schneider was he he died of a suicide from a gunshot wound from the back of his head that came from a shotgun, which has a really
did they call
long
it
barrel
a suicide?
or something like that, from what I heard.
I didn't think they called it a suicide. I thought this one was actually an unsolved murder. Otherwise, and one of his
with his hands tied behind his back. Oh yeah, it was suicide.
Right.
He might have.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean.
You
yeah,
know, he could have known the Clintons.
Hey, in one of his public talks, he says he's had like, I think it's 10 or 11 assassination attempts, and it was about a week or two before they finally got him.
Yeah.
He actually said in a talk how many times they had tried to take him out. It was a week or two later they got him.
That's just because, they didn't beam him out quick enough, or their timing was off.
That happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Channel Vince Foster. He'll tell you.
Yeah, there you go.
See, he also somehow got a hold of some, like, I know, artifacts that he was showing. I think that's when they started getting to be more annoyed. If you go look at Phil Schneider's very last public speaking event, at the end he goes on about, like, well, I don't even know if it's just at the end. He might mention a few of them all the way through. But he's got, like, these artifacts and stuff on a table and things.
Yeah. When you talk about artifacts and things like that, I hope Nancy starts getting back into doing stuff about Klaus Donna. He used to talk a lot about forbidden technology and out-of-place artifacts.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's some really great stuff. Yeah, it's super interesting. I don't even know if Klaus is still alive. He was quite old the last time I seen him on. I think he was even old. He's even older than Michael Cremo. Who'd be another great person that Nancy could get in here. I hope one day before he passes away.
Where's Klaus from, Mark?
Austria, I believe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, or someplace like that. He's from like Central Europe, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Austria, Romania, somewhere in there.
It's Central or Western Europe sort of thing is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe like Denmark
he
or
was
something.
Quite knowledgeable. He used to go around doing tours, showing his artifacts off. He'd go to all the way down to Peru and get stuff from there. From like around Nazca and other places like that. Oh, all over the world. Yeah. And even David Childress picked up a lot of stuff that he was doing and was doing some stuff with that. David Hatcher Childress. Yep. Got it. But we're about to end the show, guys. It's been a quick 2 hours. And let's get out our information. I know you can get a hold of Jack through me or on his Facebook page, Jack Carey, or paranormalintelligenceagency.com. Debbie, how do we get a hold of you? And then you go around the table, since I'm picking on you, like I always do. And you get the rest of the folks' information out.
Okay. You can get me on Facebook just as well. I have Instagram, but you can go through Mark too if you really need to get in touch with me. That's probably the easiest way. Who wants to go next, David?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you can. I'm on Facebook under David Champ. I got a little. You don't have my photograph, but I got a bobolink bird sitting there. And you can also find my UFO spacecraft identification manual on Amazon under David Campione. Vicky.
Yes, you can find me on Telegram at For Such a Time as This, and X at Booklander62. Next.
Mark Edward.
Okay. Mainly on minds.com. Yeah, all my content's on minds.com. So minds.com/Medworthy.
DK, let's go, buddy.
Yeah, DK Conspiracy on Rumble is the best place for my good videos. There is DB123, lowercase DB123. Look for this icon though. When I first started that channel, if you like search my name, I came up. Now when I search my name, I have to scroll down, and it actually only comes up with one of my videos, but the icon's there, so I know it's my channel. So look for the icon. Yeah, that's how shadow banned I am on YouTube. And then there's just DLive, Telegram. Oh, DLive's DK Conspiracy 123. Telegram is But What If Chat. And Discord is Much Love, No Fear. Find me somewhere.
Vicky, did we get you in already?
Yes.
All right then. Since everybody's got in, I'm going to take us out. And if you're on the radio side and you're listening in, yeah, go try to find that icon. All right. So, an avatar. We're out of here, but hopefully Nancy will be back next week and we'll have more for you. Thank you. All right. We're about to end this and go over to the after show. Debbie, thank you for coming in. I know I was like last minute stuff with you. Appreciate everything.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and if you can stick around in the after show, that's fine. If you can't, I understand, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep. This girl needs her.
Yeah.
I gotta.
You have a good night. Rest well, and I'll catch up with you on Facebook later on. Appreciate each and everybody out there. Stick around, folks that are still listening, because we have an after show, and maybe we'll even have Roger Hanson come into the after show.
Good to see you, Debbie.
Yep.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye, guys.
I'm gonna let
Vicky.
this go until we get knocked off the call, and then I'll make a new call on the after show.
That last one was funny.
What?
But I was saying,
yeah. Look
and
for the icon. Yeah.
We're not down here, but
and we're on rate. Yeah, folks, yeah. How are folks gonna take and see that icon on if they're listening to the radio?
It looks like a brain explosion, a brain on fire sort of thing. Brain made of lava. I know, but yeah, it looks like a brain that's on fire.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. You sure about that?
That's what it's supposed to be. It looks like it when you zoom in. It doesn't from a distance.
Is that the one?
When you zoom in, that's what it is. It's a brain explosion.
Yeah, I can picture the brain exploding there. Mine exploded.
Yeah, I know.
Earlier.
Yeah. I know exactly
when. I know you're used to being on video streams, but radio streams are a lot different.
Yeah, I know. As I said, we need to do some more practice streams so like I can get that out of my system. It's just a stupid bad habit.
Yep. That's why even when I'm on just a regular stream like we are right now, when we're off the air and that. I keep
trying to practice that as well. Honestly, I practice that till I get drunk later on, and then I'm just a dick again. But I'm trying to keep it straight during the day, especially when I'm on other shows and things. But
yeah, I was about ready to reach through, stick your head in the toilet and flush it a few times. You're like, oh, come on! Why?
DK,
you're killing me.
How many lemons have I got? I know. I tell you what I'll do. I'll sub to you on DLive. There you go. I'll sub to you on DLive.
All right.
That's not like 2 ice creams.
Well, you're up to 4. What are you talking about?
I gave you a diamond last time.
Yeah, well, okay, that carried over.
And now I've just subscribed. Jeez. We've got to get you to 20 subscribers so you can go to VP and... Oh, no, you can apply for, shit, what is it? Associate or whatever now.
I already got that, I think, because I can.
Oh, you got that?
Post
Now,
over.
okay,
Yeah.
now you need to get...
Yeah,
now
I
you got to
get
get 1,000 followers and 20 subscriptions.
Oh,
Subscribers.
I don't have that one yet. No, because
I don't either.
get,
I've got
I
over
don't get
1,000 people. I don't have the subs.
Yeah, Miss Trash is over in Kick Chat. Much appreciated. You've been with us a long time today. Appreciate you for coming into the Kick Chat and hanging out with us. I'll be over to go into your channel and help you out and keep you yeah, that too. Yeah, everybody that's out there, my kids get so upset with me. Dad, you have 60 million tabs up. Why? Because I'm trying to keep up with my friends. You can't do that. We don't have any bandwidth here, Dad. And that was the beginning of the after show, and here we go with the rest of it. Get those people in here. DK, Roger, Mark Edworthy. Anyways, I'm trying to get everybody back in here, folks. Give me a few more seconds. I know everybody's here. Well, no, I guess David ducked out. Come on, Edworthy. Roger, come on. I gotta hang up over here on the other side. Get us back up and running once again. Anybody there? Hello, hello, hello. Trying to call the group again for our after show. Zavis, thanks for coming into the Kick Chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you folks over in D Live as well. Let me go over here and see who we got. I know we had Svetlana over there. We had Les Welch. We got DK in Kick Chat. Not Kick Chat, D Live. Davey Z. Roger Hanson, and Dark Latin Master in D Live. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And over on Rumble, appreciate all your all the folks over there. I did get a raid over here earlier. I missed it. Polar Plays 95 was in the chat, brought his folks in, or their folks in. Appreciate you. Amos 47's in there. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm still working on getting us up and rolling. on DK. Are you here with me?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Amos 777. Oh, quadruple 7.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's my mate.
there.
Yeah, that's my mate Alan from Aussie who came over to visit for 6 weeks.
Cool. And we had lots of folks. Connie Cryptic was in, and she's still in there over in D Live, not D Live, but Kick Chat. We have Big Cat Gaming and Twitch. Who'd we have over here on Facebook? Got a lot of had a lot of folks tonight. I'm glad. Let me try getting our folks back in here. Medworthy. Vicky still hasn't hung up over there, so I can't get her in. I don't know what's going on. Gotta hang up.
Can you send her a chat on the other one?
I don't know.
Or do I have to? Yeah, or do we have to hang up to do it?
Maybe she stepped away. I'm not sure if Roger's coming in or not. Let me see if I can get Sonia in.
I'll see if I can get a hold of Vicky.
Yeah, see if you can get a hold of Vicky to come in for after show. Yeah, and just add her into the group. We had a fairly good show tonight. Great stream from beginning until the end. Thank you, everybody. Smoke in peace. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. When I'm done, man, I'll be over for sure. I'm over there already in your stream, but I do have to limit how many tabs I have up when I'm streaming with all the platforms I'm out on. I am a huge multi-streamer.
It must be more incredible than mine.
Yeah.
I've got things open, like 2 windows open full of tabs on both computers.
My kids want to come in and kick Dad's ass every time. They're like, "Oh man, Dad, you got 60 million tabs up. Where's our bandwidth, Dad?" Right, Mark?
I know,
you would be like that if you were my kid. You'd be like, "Dad, take the
I know you use a multi-monitor. I can see you using a multi-monitor setup there, but I've got 4 monitors on the go at the moment. So I've got at the moment I've got Teams straight in front of me, and I've got Teams with just the chat messages here, and I've got D Live on this screen, and I've got Rumble on this screen.
Rumble,
so I can...
yeah.
I've got the chat and my D Live on here, and the Rumble and Dreagus' D Live. I just keep switching between those 2 on the other one.
Yeah, but
and that one's streaming whichever one I'm looking at.
I'm one computer, one phone guy with 2 monitors. Where is David Campione? I've been trying to get him in.
Was that one phone with 2 monitors?
Yeah, no, yeah, 1 phone, and I have. Looks like Vicky's still busy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I messaged her. She said she's trying. I mean,
tell her she has to quit again. For some reason over there.
I said you need to hang up on the old one, or leave the old one, so you can join the next one. Like, I actually messaged her.
I can't even find David Campione in here, and I know I've added him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to add people. I haven't worked out Teams properly yet.
You just go up to where it says people and add them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep, that's all you have to do. And Mark, what do we got for the terms of service today?
Hey, it's Roger.
Apparently
In Roger.
Huh?
All terms and services apply.
Hey, Roger, how you doing
Yes,
tonight?
they do apply. And tell
Sure,
DK
I know
what
what I'm
he
not
doesn't
allowed to
get to do.
Indeed. Indeed. Speak
Hey,
up,
it's
son.
Roger.
You-
Appreciate
Yeah,
you
you're
tuning in.
Roger.
Your mic is really low, buddy.
Yeah.
Can we turn it
Hey,
up?
Roger, how you doing tonight?
I don't know how. Does Teams work
I
like
can't,
that? Can we
you
turn it
can't
up?
do that.
It's
you
all right.
know,
I
you
know
have
what I'm
to-
not allowed to do.
Enter.
Yeah, for some reason your mic is super low, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a little better. Yeah.
Loud.
You why
Yeah,
not?
that's.
You always have lots to say.
Yeah. I thought you were still having your energy problems. I thought you were dealing with the engineers today or something. Yeah. Technicians, engineers, ain't difference. So, as far as tomorrow evening's concerned, or this evening, as far as I'm concerned, probably a no-go. Or even that. Okay, that's all the right technicians.
Yeah, that's a
David's
good
on-
question. If they know
I
what
think-
they're
I think-
doing.
Dude, I think David's on the wrong one. He just messaged on one of the other channels saying unable to connect. He's on Vixen's Vault 2 or Legions of Chaos 2 or something.
We're in after show, tell him. And I've been trying to get a hold of him and add him into here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
Because he
swear.
not hung up places either.
I swear.
Both of them finally left number 1. That's a good start.
Okay, according to this, Dave's not in this chat. He's got to be added.
Yeah, and I've tried to add him.
Hang on. No, he isn't.
Yes, I've
Oh,
been
yes,
trying
he
to
is.
add
He
him
is
in.
up
I
there.
don't
So,
know
yeah, he's
why
one
or
of the
what's
top,
happening that I can't do that.
Dave, get in here, man. Dave Campione, get in here, dude.
For some reason, Vicky's just left.
What did Vicky do?
Vicky ran away.
She left the other one and then got here and then left.
Well, she said, I'm sick of dealing with you guys' shit.
Yeah. By the way, Mark, the Telegram channel that you sent me was Vicky's one, not Nancy's. So I'm actually on Vicky's Telegram channel. I was talking with her the other night.
No.
Yeah.
You're in Nancy's too.
What's Nancy's called?
Game Theory.
I don't know if I am. I might be. Not sure.
Game Theory is the one. Okay, I invited him in again. I don't know. Maybe he left the group before. I'm not sure.
Maybe
not
just
sure.
accident or something.
I'm just sending him a phone call. Now he's got his old account from Skype, and now he's got a new one too that doesn't have the avatar.
Yeah, and I added him into the group chat, but it's not showing up as a participant over here for some. There it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what happens when you get a technician in here who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Sure. I need one of them. Can someone show me what I'm supposed
guys,
to be doing?
I'm trying to antagonize Mark. He gets fired up.
I can do it. I can do it quite easily.
One of us.
It's quite easy to antagonize.
The other Mark. The other Mark.
Technically, we are both technicians. You know.
He's gonna hang up over there because he's still.
He just unmuted. He's there.
Yeah, I just got in. Mark,
you
everywhere
go.
they signed me in. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate
Well done.
Yeah, I
Welcome to
couldn't.
Cheers, welcome to the party, something like
Yeah.
that or the other, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking about cigars, wild women,
You know better.
and
You
we're
know better.
and ropes, and thank God Vicky and Sonia
Handcuffs.
and Nancy are not here right now. Otherwise, I would be getting a lashing. But anyways, yeah. Anyway,
With the whip.
Well, Sonia would
Just
be.
reinvited,
Sonia would be.
Becky, actually. I noticed that she left, so I just re-invited her just in case there's an accident.
yes, thank you.
And Sonia would have been here lickety split.
I was thinking it was an accident as well that she left.
Like, I don't know why you're talking about with Sonia being upset. If she found out we were talking like that, she'd have been in here in a heartbeat.
No, she wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, she would.
In your dreams, Roger.
I'm telling you, dude, Sonia's a wild child.
Oh, yeah.
She can be.
Maybe she
be.
may be wild, child, but
Sonia
that
loves me still. Gotta be careful.
we discussed that Sunday night on Censorship's show, and we already come to the conclusion it's too hard to get an RV to go across the Pacific Ocean. She has to learn how to transverse the deserts and mountains in our country first. So
She just needs to put her on a rubber raft.
John over there had he explained to her that you can't take and go, put the flotation devices on the RV just yet. You have to make sure everything checks out.
I was thinking
I disagree.
Hovercraft.
No, you just want to see her sink. That's all.
Yeah, I don't want to see her sing.
I wanted.
Every girl from America who flirts with me, I tell them to start swimming. I have one girl say, nah, I'm going to build a boat and I'll pick up the stragglers. I'm like, awesome, you're bringing me a harem. and now I've got Sonia saying she wants to make her house truck float.
No, that's what we.
There must be something.
That's what me and John. That's what me and John came up with. But you can spin that any way you want when you're on air with her later on. But
I just find it funny that you're talking about me when I'm not there.
Now, hold on. If she can get to you by doing that, you better send a warning to Jaffe.
No.
Because she'll be on his way next.
No, I don't. Well, actually, yeah, she probably will. She probably will. If she can make that RV float all the way to freaking New Zealand, bam, dude, she's there.
To be honest, she even said if she had enough money, she would fly over. And yeah, if she got this far, why wouldn't she fly over and go see Jaffe? Yeah. But Jaffe's married, remember, so he's kind of a bit safer.
Well, he got the okay from his he got the okay from his wife though. His wife said it was okay if he had a groupie. So I'm seeing a menage a trois.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love to be on one of Jaffe's shows and say that.
No, I don't think she'd allow you.
Sonia's coming over to see you and your wife. I think they've been talking behind your back. I think something's planned.
Well, no, he said it with her right there on the show with us. Like, he said that it was okay. She said it was okay for him to have a groupie. And when I hear groupie, I'm kind of thinking, the frisky kind.
I know, it's a group photo. Honest.
Group photo, yeah, there you go. See, you always take things to the extreme, Roger. Come on now.
Well, no, you listen to
Jaffe. Get your mind out of the gutter, would you?
You got to listen to Jaffe. You got to listen to him. Like, every time Sonia is on with him, he starts getting sexual innuendo going. Like he starts mentioning keywords, and that's why he's big on his keywords. He'll start throwing them into his conversation.
Yeah. Well, I ended up getting shitty with him a couple of times.
A couple times, shit.
Oh yeah.
A
couple
means
two.
two.
Really good.
Here, DK, do you know why Roger didn't come on the air tonight with us earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Because we were on the air, and he knows that if he's all excited and tore up and all that, he'll say the F-bomb on the air.
No.
So
it's not that.
So I've got to learn when not to eat. As I said, I wasn't expecting to tonight. Everything was going really well. I just quoted
last
a
week
story,
we weren't expecting it either, but
yeah, I know. I know.
Somebody said the F-bomb.
Just train yourself to use a different word, like, I don't know, crud or something.
Frick.
Yeah, vert.
Frick.
I'm going to try and find a word that works, or something that's okay and radio allowed.
Yeah,
What
innuendo
the fun?
is
fun
innuendo
works.
is
The word fun works. I gotta say, what the fun?
Oh God.
Yeah.
There you go. That works.
And
I was using that years ago when my kid was real young. I need to go back to that.
Yeah. If you want to talk about intimacy and that, kiss, all right? Kiss is an intimate word, all right? Yeah, they were kissing. Mm-hmm. Right, okay.
Mm-hmm. I just couldn't bring myself to be such a loser like that and say, like, sissy words.
Sissy words. Oh.
It's so fun and...
Now I'm getting crap on my D-Live channel. You speak as the unlearned.
The unlearned.
I can't read the next line.
You are the unlearned. You unlearned. That sounds like something Mark Edworthy would say to you.
I'm sure that's in the terms of service. Now, Mark,
I'm still trying to work out if 666 Mafia actually likes me or if he's trolling me. Still trying to work that one out.
Now,
but
Mark,
I don't ban trolls. I generally play with them. So
now, Mark, all right. You have to send him the written terms of services for being on, terrestrial type radio, whether it's UK, and make sure it's all the international lingo.
Yeah, actually, please do. I have no idea what the regulations are.
And once we have his bank account and his his credit card numbers. Sent and returned to us.
It's all right. I'm safe. I've got almost nothing.
Yeah. The mortgage for his house and car and
I rent. My car's paid for and I rent. Nah.
Yeah, but
Extra's
I'm just saying.
Good. Extra's good. Don't think small, think big. It's good to have two cars rather than one.
Right. And just because you put it
in
your
sister's name, houses and
you use it every day, or even though you don't have a sister, all right, or may not have.
No, I don't.
But you can't be doing that. That's fraud. Right?
You want my sister?
No.
He doesn't have a sister.
No, we're not selling relatives.
You guys hear about P. Diddy?
I'm pretty sure I've already given the government enough to come at me, and they haven't yet. I don't know what I have to do before they come at me.
You guys,
when they get me, I'm thinking they're looking at like, dude, this guy's going away forever when we get him. We'll let him away with all these little things. When we get him, it's going to be big.
David, tell him how that he can escape that. All he has to do is follow the instructions in the book that you've written, and they'll beam him up and take him away. And I don't know. the Galactic Federation may have other rules and things.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
About
They might be
about
more,
that.
they might be more lax. I might be able to get away with more.
I don't know. GDK, I don't know. We've heard about so many people getting probed and taking and getting implants in there. You get a certain implant and you start to say that word and you might get zapped or beamed someplace else.
Not the dog electric zap collar, eh? But actually implanted.
You guys know that. You guys know that
I'm going to tell you, they'll probably implant it in your nutsack if you keep it up.
I did an anal probing of mine.
Yeah, I'm not
I
signing
don't
that,
want to
bro.
know about what you do in your spare
I'm
time,
not signing
Roger.
that.
I anally probed mine's gaming, dude. I got
I think I'm striking out that clause
I got a stream
and
of
taking
it.
it to a lawyer.
Hold on, before we get any further, I gotta take and tones and switch out a bunch of platforms before we go too far.
What are you?
Further now, you're already going.
If you're on YouTube, good
yeah.
night. Thank you.
What are you?
If you're on YouTube, head over to Rumble, D-Live, BitChute, wherever else
They're
he
gone.
is.
They're gone. If you are on Facebook, go ahead, give the spill.
That's what he thinks.
Too late. We'll see you next time on Facebook. I'll be up on Sunday. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Nobody likes you on Facebook
Yeah,
anyhow.
some
Beat it.
boring woke
Telegram.
normies, we out.
Well, love you too.
Beat it,
If
Facebookers.
you are on what other platform can I? Did it? Twitch. Good night, folks. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah, beat it,
or
Twitch.
a filler stream. Thank you.
Beat it,
If
Twitch.
you-
True. You're on Twitch. I might have to try and remember who some of my followers are.
If you
Because I'm
are
not allowed back on. I'm not allowed to get back on my old account. So I might give you a few people's names and you just at them for me and say DK Conspiracy will be on a show here on this day. Turn up.
and then my channel will be banned, right? No.
No, the people who actually
Anyways,
No.
getting back,
How would
we
your
love
channel
you
be
guys over
banned?
on Nice. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Nice.
We're gonna call it a night on the Nice platform.
What the hell, dude?
Yeah. Hey, be harsher. Normies be damned. Get on Rumble, D-Live, BitChute.
I should have
Somebody
waited.
that isn't soft.
I should have waited before I badmouthed all these platforms because when he said nice, I should have said something really hateful to the people on the nice platform.
No, I even
I didn't
held back
even-
myself this time.
I didn't even know there was a platform named Nice.
Yeah, it's actually going away soon.
Oh, good,
So,
good.
uh,
I just I just
yeah.
don't like the idea
But
of there being a nice
we are
platform.
still up on.
Yeah, you're
we
not
are-
allowed to be
you-
nice
I thought
online.
the same thing, Roger. I didn't know
we
there was
we are still up on Rumble, Beam, Nemo TV,
You know,
Party TV, BitChute,
he's gonna kick,
Hit.
dude.
and D-Live, and that's all she wrote for that.
I've got you on Telegram as well.
Well, I just took Telegram down.
No, I'm restreaming it on Telegram.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm restreaming you on D-Live and Telegram, man.
Dave,
Okay.
what was you saying?
Is
Dave?
that Roger?
Yeah.
No, I said I agree with whatever you said about
Oh yeah.
before.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was a compliment because I agreed with what you said. I can't even remember now. It's so damn late.
Yeah, it was like I don't like the idea of there being a nice platform. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I thought. It was,
You're thinking of Blue Sky.
That's not
Well,
nice.
That's not nice.
No.
Yeah, I agree with
They
Rod,
think
what
it's
Roger
nice.
said. He thought
Their
all the
version of
platforms
nice.
were nice, and then there is a nice platform. That's what
Yeah, but
I agreed with.
nice
Yeah.
is not spelled that way though. Nice is spelled Noice.
Noise.
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 Oh, that's
Yeah,
Noise.
that's out of what is it? Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I don't know, but anyways, we're done over
It was
there.
a TV program that was actually funny. I used to watch.
Oh.
Now I realize how woke it was. But yeah, they said noise all the time, and that had like Adam Sandberg and Terry Crews in it. It was actually really funny, but I don't know if I could even watch it again now.
No, news at 10. DK Conspiracy has watched woke television.
Yeah.
Yes. And he loves it.
He loves it.
Loves it.
I said
Bastard.
something.
Were you typing that?
I said
Utter bastard.
I said something to Mark on my show the other day that'll
Do some
freaking
young ones
that'll kind
style
of wake
things.
you up. You guys remember MacGyver?
Oh,
Yeah.
I do actually. The original one, even.
Right, the original
Not the new
one.
remake.
You want to hear something that's a kind of a twist? Like, I grew up loving MacGyver, right? But guess what? MacGyver worked for a freaking think tank.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He worked.
And he went and carried out basically black op missions
Mhm.
constantly.
And after that, I actually checked it out too. I checked it out. And you take a look at Knight Rider, Foundation for Law and Government.
Yeah, another one.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So all that
Yeah.
time back during the 80s, dude, they were pushing that shit in our head, like these think tanks were just great foundations that were out to care about
Save
you.
the world.
Save the world.
There was another stupid one I remember that was on Friday nights in New Zealand. It was
Yeah.
called like Automan or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd
Automan.
made basically like an automated like orb thing that could use like energy to basically make any object he wanted. So there's this one agent with this little blue glowing orb. It could make a car, a motorbike, a gun, like anything he wanted. It could make it out of energy, and he had that right there. It was
Right
called
there.
Automan.
Wow. I never heard of that one. That'd have been cool. That would have been.
It would have
neat to
been
see.
super. Yeah, it would have been super B grade, but nothing good made it to New Zealand. Although we did
I
get
like
Night
that.
Cool.
Rider.
That would have been.
It would have been
neat to see.
super. Yeah, it
What
would have
else
been
was there?
super B.
Nighthawk?
I loved Amen. Dude, I loved
Yeah, it was a Nighthawk. Yeah, I remember a Nighthawk. Yeah.
Nighthawk was the dude with the. Before that, there was just Stingray, a
Mhm.
guy in a Corvette.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy crap!
That was a cool show, Stingray, man.
I know
That
it
was almost as good as Man from Uncle.
Oh, man. It was way better than Man
I'm
from
not that
Uncle,
old, bro.
dude.
I've
Man, what's wrong?
seen the movie, but not the show.
Mark Edward is the only one that liked that show other than Mark.
Yeah,
Rogers.
it was.
Actually-
It was.
actually,
It used to be. It used to be show on UK Channel 4 just before
MASH.
either what was it, the John Boy then the
Walton.
Walton, or Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, the Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
My
wanna,
mum used to love that show.
I wanna
Mental.
I want to break a myth that's been passed around too, by the way. Here recently on the internet, there's been a lot of hype on Walmart being owned by a member of the Walton family. I went and checked it out, and it is a false myth. That's not true. So if you guys ever hear it, just tell them that you heard that from me. That
Oh, yeah. Roger knows.
It's been going on in the chats, and a lot of people are trying to say that
I've seen it.
that Sam Walton was supposed to be an actual kid, one of the kids of the Waltons. and I went and checked it out, and I found out that the Walton family
One of
is
the
real.
kids from a TV show.
The family is real, but their last name isn't even Walton. So, just to clear that up.
Yeah, that's
That's
just a
mental.
coincidence.
Well, no, I mean, like,
Oh yeah, there's no such thing as coincidence.
there
Anyway,
is
I'll
a
be back in a
family.
sec.
There is a family. It's just their last name isn't Walton. They changed the name for the TV show and the movie.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, never.
Well, I thought they were originally named Walton too, but apparently, apparently they aren't. It would have been cool if
Walton families and the American family who collectively found. So it's different. Walton. It's people are confusing the TV program with an actual family that was related to Walmart.
See, hey, look at that. See, you guys get that cool stuff straight from Roger Hanson on Dreagus Production. There
you go.
I am the shit, dude. See, that's quality content right there.
That's right.
You only get that here in the after show.
So what's their real name then? Do you know?
I can actually pull it up. It's pretty easy.
Looking at this, I'm looking at a Wikipedia article called Walton Family, and in relation to Walmart, family is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members, all over worth over several billion US dollars. They're all related to Walmart.
Earl Hamner Jr. is the one who wrote The Waltons, and it's based on his childhood experiences.
Okay, I think this is a completely different Walton family. Yeah, this is a completely different Walton.
Yeah.
You never.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, eh? I think it sounds too much like a conspiracy for it to actually be true. So there's an extraneous connection that a name on a TV show is suddenly the owners of Walmart because they changed their names.
Don't get me started on those crazy kooky ideas because I've had a few of them. Okay, like
well, that's what I said. Hey, the first thing you do is you try and debunk shit. If you can't debunk stuff, those are the things you bother focusing on.
Well, I mean, I did debunk a couple of them. Like, I thought that Bill Altman and